However, the scorching heat was a little too severe, and the discomfort could only be resisted by exerting some power. No wonder the people in the workers' room would hide inside their houses every time they came back to rest. Xianxia initially thought that they were just cold, but it was not the case. They were just too tired from working in the orchard, and they really needed to rest and recuperate. Because the few newcomers knew nothing about the orchard, Zhou guided everyone. First, he explained the details of caring for the fire spirit fruit trees, which Xianxia was provided by Dieu previously, and the information was more or less the same and actually even more detailed than Zhou's. Judging from the doubtless expressions of the other people, it was obvious that they had all gathered this information beforehand. Zhou even brought them around to observe and emulate how some other people took care of the fruit trees, even pointing out some details that needed attention. After wandering around for a long time, Zhou led the few people into the depths of the orchard and assigned them to different places. Xianxia was allocated 3 acres of land, which was planted with a total of 30 fire spirit fruit trees. Before leaving, Zhou handed him an access token and left Xianxia instructions to take good care of it, and then continued to lead the others away. Standing in the middle of the small orchard plot, Xianxia took a deep breath which scalded his stomach and lungs, but also filled him with energy. He was going to live here for a month. It was never fun to work for others, but what piqued Xianxia's interest was the fire spirit fruit trees themselves. If he had an opportunity, he could take one into his own medicine garden, and it would certainly bring him a lot of convenience when refining open heaven pills in the future. Each fruit tree had a fluffy crown, and red fist-sized fruits hung all over the branches of each of these 10-meter-tall trees. Xianxia circled around his allocated 3 acres of land with his hands behind his back. Dieu mentioned that every spirit fruit in the orchard was recorded precisely, and even missing one would be a big deal. Naturally, he had to keep count carefully. It only took a short while to finish the job, and the number was consistent with what was recorded in the token. Xianxia stood under a fruit tree, glanced left and right to make sure that there was no one around before stretching out his hand and pulling a branch towards him. There were 3 fire spirit fruits hanging on the branch. He took a sniff and the invigorating scent rushed to his mind, immediately sending a shock to his senses. So this is how a fire spirit fruit smells like. I wonder what it would taste like. Xianxia smacked his lips, suddenly feeling a little hungry. However, according to Dieu, it would take several dozen years for a fire spirit fruit to ripen, and these fruits in front of him looked like they were still a little short, which meant that it would be a few years yet. Due to his unfamiliarity with the task, Xianxia was only allocated 3 acres of land. Other elderly workers had at least several dozen or hundreds of acres of land, or even more. There were at least 1,000 people living in the workers' room in the entire fire spirit land, so with some calculation, the estimated area of this orchard was clearly quite extensive. And that was just fire spirit land. 7 Wonders Land also had 6 other spirit lands. Gently loosening the branch in his hand, Xianxia sat cross-legged under the fruit tree, holding the jade token Zhou handed over to him, refining it silently. This jade token was the key to taking care of the fruit trees. There were various arrays in the fire spirit fruit orchard, and these spirit arrays were controlled by this token. Nothing could be done without it. One even needed to use the token to enter or leave the orchard. To the workers of 7 Wonders Land, this token was more valuable than their lives. Once lost, the consequences would be disastrous. While he was refining the token, he suddenly heard the sound of rustling footsteps. Xianxia opened his eyes to look, surprised by the arrival of the visitor. "It's you!" The newcomer, too, widened his eyes and looked around in amazement. "Is this piece of land assigned to you?" Xianxia nodded, got up and smiled. "Why are you here?" The person turned around and pointed with a laugh. "My land is beside yours." Xianxia laughed too. "What a coincidence. We are neighbors in the workers' room, and we are also neighbors here. It's fate, old sir." The visitor was none other than the old man who stayed one house away from Xianxia. He was the one who asked for rewards when Xianxia wanted to inquire information from him previously. Xianxia ignored him and left, and they did not talk to each other for the next few days. Who knew that their orchard plots would actually be next to each other too? The old man looked up and down at Xianxia, his expression a little weird, and then he shook his head and sighed. Xianxia asked with a scowl, "What does old sir mean?" By the looks of it, you still don't know what's going on, but you're facing imminent disaster. The old man pointed at Yang Kai with a heartbroken expression. Yang Kai laughed angrily. Old sir, you and I have only met once before, and we don't know each other that well. Yet today you came here to my site and make such an alarming statement. Does old sir think I'm an easy target to be bullied just because I am new here? Or have I offended you in some way? The old man shook his head. You didn't offend me. Even if you offended this old master, what can this old master do to you? Everyone is a worker in the worker's room and no one is better than anyone, right? He sighed again. You didn't offend this old master, but have you offended someone else? Yang Kai was speechless. I've only been here for 3 days. Who can I offend? The old man wondered. Then why were you assigned to this land? Out of so many places in the orchard, why this land plot? Yang Kai frowned. Is there anything wrong with this land? There's something wrong, something very wrong. The old man remained in his position with his hands folded behind his back. He looked left and right, then lowered his voice. To tell you the truth, the worker for this piece of land has been replaced 3 times in the past 10 years. You are the 4th person. Yang Kai frowned. Why did they change people? The trees died. The old man pointed in a certain direction. Haven't you seen it? A few fruit trees over there are newly planted seedlings. Yang Kai nodded in agreement. I have. There are indeed a few new seedlings over there. Yang Kai noticed that during the inspection before that 3 fire spirit fruit trees were obviously different from the others. It seemed that they had just been planted a few years ago. Based on the old man's statement, he understood that the fruit trees before had died. The old man laughed. As workers, losing a single fruit is already a big deal, not to mention the occurrence of a dead tree. All of these happened within the past 10 years. Yang Kai was startled. What was the punishment for the 3 people before? The old man shook his head. I don't know. I haven't seen them since the fruit trees died. Yang Kai's face suddenly darkened. Do you know what caused the fruit trees to die? How would I know that? Although my plot is nearby, this place is not under my management. If you want to know the reason, you have to work hard to investigate and you have to be fast, otherwise you might just follow in the footsteps of the previous 3. After speaking, the old man shook his head in a sigh and cried out as he walked away. Fate. As he watched the old man leave, Yang Kai had lost all intentions of refining the jade token. Zhou Zheng's figure flashed across his mind and he gritted his teeth and cursed. He suddenly recalled Ah-sun asking him if he wanted to send Zhou Zheng a gift when she visited him last night. After all, he was the manager of the orchard and Yang Kai would be working as his subordinate. A gift would help to form a good relationship, and she even mentioned that several others from their group seemed to have done the same. Yang Kai did not take it to heart at the time, and Ah-sun did not insist. Now it seemed that sending a gift was not a bad idea after all. At least this particular plot had not fallen to the other newcomers. He thought of Jie Yu's evaluation of Zhou Zheng again and had a sudden realization. It indeed was necessary to guard against others. Yang Kai had only met Zhou Zheng twice, and there was no conflict between them. Yet this terrifying piece of land was assigned to him. Although the old man did not say what happened to the 3 previous owners of this plot, since the fruit trees died, there was no doubt about what happened to them. It was probably too late to go to Zhou Zheng now, and the only way out was to save himself. At the very least, it was necessary to find out why the fruit trees were dying in order to find a solution. Thinking of this, Yang Kai sat down cross-legged again and continued refining the jade token. Only after refining jade token could he connect with the orchard's grand array to find out everything about his small plot. The token was not difficult to refine, fortunately, and half a day later Yang Kai was finished. He wanted to try to care for the fruit trees by watering, fertilizing, and providing world energy for them, but was afraid that he might not do it correctly, so he simply got up and headed out. After a short while, he came to a thatched hut. Yang Kai raised his hand and knocked on the door. The door opened and the old man who had gone to Yang Kai before looked at him with a stunned expression. Is there something wrong, little brother? Yang Kai cupped his fists and expressed, I have come to ask old sir for guidance on caring for the fruit trees. This is my first time and it's never bad to be careful. I'm afraid that something will happen. It would be better if old sir could teach me carefully. The old man said, I can. But what benefit could this old master get? None. Yang Kai shook his head. The old man laughed. Why would this old master do something that won't benefit him? The warning earlier was already a kind gesture from this old master. Don't take it for granted. Do leave. He waved his hand continuously. Xianxia grinned. There's no benefit to guiding me, but it's definitely bad to not guide me. The smile on the old man's face suddenly disappeared. Little brother, are you threatening this old master? After living for so many years, this old master is not afraid. Xianxia shrugged. Then it's up to old sir. If any tree dies on my small plot, I will come here first and destroy one of old sir's trees. If 2 of mine die, I will destroy 2 trees, 3 for 3. In any case, if something happens, the consequences will be disastrous, so it would be good to have someone to accompany me in my fate. Xianxia turned around and left as soon as he finished. Stop! The old man yelled. Xianxia turned around and looked at the old man with a smile. Old sir, what else can I do for you? You, the old man pointed at Xianxia, his beard shaking with anger. I have never met someone as unreasonable and shameless as you. You really irritate this old master. Xianxia replied with a snicker. Life is hard, and I have no choice. The old man was gloomy. Since you also know that life is hard, why do you have to make it difficult for this old master? Xianxia turned his head to look around and stretched out his hand to draw a big circle. Sir, even if it's not 80 acres of land here, I believe there should be at least 60. Yes. Without knowing Xianxia's intention on sudden change of topic, the old man dared not to answer rashly, but just looked at him with a wary face. If you can easily take care of 60 acres of land, it doesn't matter if there are an additional 3, right? It must be a simple matter for old sir. If old sir refuses to help me with this simple matter, don't blame me if anything happens in the future. The old man glared at him. Do you want this old master to take care of your 3 acres of land too? Xianxia grinned. Of course not. As long as old sir can take some time out to teach me, I won't bother you again in the future. After a pause, he pressed on. Don't worry. I'm a quick study. I will probably master it within a few days. The old man looked helpless. This old master is fine with teaching you, but remember what you promised. If you dare to cause trouble again in the future, don't blame this old master for being impolite. I wouldn't dare. The old man puffed with rage for a while before finally waving his arm wildly. Let's go. No rush, no rush. Xianxia hurried up to support him. The old man swung his sleeves and snorted coldly. Enough with your false pleasantries. If this old master knew you were such a cunning brat, he would not have warned you out of kindness. Xianxia chuckled. Old sir, you said it yourself. How can someone as kind as you let this junior suffer without at least warning him? Good advice doesn't cost you anything anyway. Xianxia walked together with the old man, smiling, and soon they returned to the 3 acres plot. Although the old man was coerced into helping Xianxia, since he had given his word, he did his job seriously. Of course, this was mainly because he was afraid of Xianxia's delinquent attitude. If a tree died on Xianxia's small plot one day, he might really come to sabotage his own territory. For his own sake, the old man taught Xianxia diligently. Standing in front of a fire spirit fruit tree, the old man solemnly began, although we are mere workers here in fire spirit land, a worker's job is not easy at all. There are a lot of techniques and skills involved, especially in taking care of these fruit trees. It's hard to master all kinds of details without immersing yourself in the job for 3 to 5 years, or even more. Let me tell you first, I will only teach you for 1 month. It's your own business on how much you can absorb in that time. Don't bother me again after that. Good. Xianxia nodded seriously. The old man sneered. Obviously, he thought that Xianxia had overestimated himself. However, he was glad that Xianxia had agreed. And so, he pointed to the fruit tree in front and asked, Look for yourself. What does this fruit tree require? Focused, Xianxia examined it up and down with his divine sense. But after a long while, he replied, No idea. The old man continued patiently. Put your hand on it and feel it carefully. Xianxia followed the instruction and placed his hand on the trunk. After a moment, he questioned with his head tilted, Does this fruit tree need to be fertilized? The old man rolled his eyes. This is a healthy fruit tree. You don't need to do anything. Xianxia was infuriated. Since it's healthy, why do you still ask me what it needs? The old man stroked his beard with a look of deep wisdom. This old master just wants you to remember what the state of healthy fruit trees is. Based on this, you will know what to do compared to other fruit trees. Yang Kai pondered for a while and had to admit that his words were somewhat reasonable. Although the old man clearly intended to mess with him, Yang Kai could only endure it, taking it as a payback from scamming him just now. I'll remember. Yang Kai nodded. Then let's move on. The old man beckoned. A short while later, they came to another fruit tree, and after examining it for a long time, Yang Kai came up with an uncertain deduction. Compared to the fruit tree earlier, this one seems slightly parched, so it needs watering? The old man glanced at him and nodded. Yang Kai grinned. Old sir teaches well. And so about how to water it, let me see the instructions. He took out his own token, surging his divine sense to connect to the grand array in the orchard. Without any strong effort, a cloud soon gathered on top of the fruit tree. That's not enough. Keep going. The old man shouted. This place is rich in fire element power and the environment is hot. If you gather too little spirit water, it will evaporate directly and become useless. Without further prompting, Yang Kai increased his power and gathered a larger and richer cloud above the fruit tree. Better. The old man nodded. Hearing this, Yang Kai immediately stretched out his hand and pointed. The cloud immediately enveloped the fruit tree and it obviously became much more hydrated than before. Yang Kai asked eagerly, "How is it?" "SOSO." Of course, the old man would never praise him, and continued to lead him forward. Taking care of the fruit trees was meticulous and difficult work, especially for newcomers like Yang Kai. A tiny mistake may cause disaster. While checking the fruit trees, he watered, fertilized, and extracted world energy accordingly. The 3 seedlings were the top priority, and were the toughest to take care of. However, under the guidance of the old man, Yang Kai did a fair job. Seeing him like this, the old man seemed to be quite satisfied, and even his manner eased slightly. Soon, Yang Kai finished working on his 30 fruit trees, but it was not enough for him. It was not because he was fond of this kind of work, but rather because he was planning for the future when he would begin refining open heaven pills. As an alchemist, one could not refine a pill well without understanding the characteristics of its ingredients. Working hard to care for the fire spirit fruit trees today laid a solid foundation for the alchemy he would perform in the future. Therefore, Yang Kai was quite enthusiastic about it. "Come on, let's go to your side." Yang Kai beckoned. The old man raised a brow and asked, "What are we going to this old master's side for?" Yang Kai rubbed his hands in excitement. "So I can help old sir take care of his fruit trees." The old man was appalled. "It's all right. Many thanks for your good intentions, little brat. Enough nonsense. Let's go." Yang Kai did not wait for him to finish talking and dragged him towards his own plot directly. Begrudgingly, the old man followed Yang Kai with a worried face. Yang Kai shuttled through the old man's several tens of acres, honing his own skills. Whenever he made any mistake, the old man would tremble with rage. "Old sir, this tree is infested. Is it a jade fire silkworm?" Yang Kai suddenly peeped into a hole on the tree trunk. Seeing the hole, he instantly remembered that he had promised Ruler of the Dawn Great General 5 jade fire silkworms. "Is there a worm in it?" The old man suddenly became interested and pushed Yang Kai aside before continuing eagerly. Let me see, let me see." He checked the small hole and beamed. "There really is one." Head tilted, Yang Kai looked at him with a frown. "Why are you so happy? You know nothing." The old man was too busy to explain to Yang Kai as he took out a green box and drew an incense fragment out of it. He lit the incense and gently waved it in front of the wormhole. Looking at his posture, he should be attempting to lure the worm out. He was even well prepared with the special tools. This was certainly not his first time doing this given his skillful action. A burning scent followed after igniting the incense. Yang Kai had no idea what material it was made of, but it was extremely strange. Yang Kai had many questions, but he was afraid of disturbing the old man, so he simply held his tongue and observed quietly. Given that the old man cared so much about this jade fire silkworm after being here for many years, there must be some important reason for it. Moreover, Jieyu mentioned before that if he ever caught a jade fire silkworm in the orchard, he needed to keep it, so it must be of some value. Needless to say, the old man was skilled at catching these worms. Just after burning the incense for a short while, a small scarlet head popped out of the wormhole. Yang Kai saw the jade fire silkworm too, and he immediately recognized that it was the same worm Diayu fed ruler of the Dawn Great General before. After all, the jade fire silkworm was only a worm. It was baited by the scent of incense to crawl out of the wormhole, and was immediately captured by the old man into the box. The old man extinguished the incense, and smiled delightfully at the box in his hands. Only then did Xianxia question, "Old sir, what's the use of this jade fire silkworm?" The old man glanced sideways at him and shook his head. "I can't tell you. Do you think I won't uproot your tree?" Xianxia grabbed the fire spirit fruit tree in front of him. "You?" The old man's air of superiority was immediately snuffed out when he saw Xianxia's big hand grab the tree. "Let go first. I'll let go when you explain to me." All right. He waited for Xianxia to withdraw his hand before he began to explain. "This worm is useless to us, but do you know ruler of the Dawn Great General? Jade fire silkworms are his favorite food." "I know, so what? Is a chicken worth your flattery?" Xianxia looked at the old man with disdain. The old man shook his head. "Ruler of the Dawn Great General is not an ordinary chicken. He is Venerable's pet. In this fire spirit land, he stands at the highest position other than Venerable. So what? Will it speak good words for you if you feed it? Can it help you to get rid of your status as a worker?" "Of course not," the old man chuckled. "But it's always wise to have a good relationship with ruler of the Dawn Great General. That's all." Xianxia looked at him suspiciously. "What else can it be?" Xianxia looked at him seriously for a while, and then he grabbed the fire spirit fruit tree again. "Do you really think I won't uproot your tree?" Stop. The old man shouted loudly, his beard trembling violently. Xianxia was unmoved, however, and gradually increased the strength of his grip. "Good, you win." The old man wanted so badly to slap Xianxia to death, but with a hostage at stake, he resisted the urge and explained, "Great General has open heaven pills, and if he is in a good mood, he may give you one." "Why else do you think we catch these worms? That damn chicken has open heaven pills?" Xianxia could not believe what he just heard. "Can you keep your voice down?" The old man looked around and continued, "Great General is not an ordinary chicken. If anyone hears you defaming him, you will not end well." Fine, I'll be quiet." Xianxia accepted the old man's advice and immediately lowered his voice with a sinister look on his face. "Has anyone ever gotten open heaven pills from that dam?" "From Great General?" Xianxia asked because last time when Diayu fed the chicken, he did not give her any open heaven pills. Otherwise, why do you think this old master is willing to work so hard on catching worms? The old man continued disdainfully. Xianxia rubbed his chin. "No wonder. As a worker, one would receive 3 open heaven pills every year." Although Xianxia did not know how significant these 3 open heaven pills were, he could infer from Diayu's tone and attitude before that it was a rather insignificant amount. Now he learned he could get open heaven pills easily if he could please ruler of the Dawn Great General. Who would not pursue such a good thing? No wonder the old man was so happy to hear that there were worms on the tree just now. Xianxia's eyes could not help following the worm squirming in the box in the old man's hand. "What are you planning to do?" The old man covered his treasure box, his beard flapping as he stared at Xianxia, mainly because he had been threatened too many times by this bandit today. He already knew that the young man in front of him was nothing good. He could guess what Xianxia was up to with just a look on his face. "Old sir?" Xianxia reached out his hand and patted the old man on the shoulder. "There's something you don't know. I promised ruler of the Dawn Great General 2 days ago that I would catch 5 jade fire silkworms for him within a month. But you already know the situation of my land. There are 30 fruit trees in total. How can I get that many worms? Scram! If you don't want to give me the worms, you could at least give me a set of worm-catching tools. That incense seems to be somewhat useful, and this box seems to be specially made too." The old man was silent, which confirmed Xianxia's guess. "Old sir, you don't want me to haunt you day and night about this, do you?" The old man sneered. "Do you really think you really can threaten this old master?" Xianxia quickly responded, "I wouldn't dare. You are a respected senior, and I'm nothing but a newcomer. How could I be so daring as to be rude to you? But I really don't have any tools to capture worms, and I don't know where to acquire them. We're all in a foreign land, so we should help each other, no?" The old man's face remained dark and unmoved. Xianxia continued, "It's not a big deal. I'll just buy a new set and return it to you in the future. Is that good enough for you? I only have this set. I don't have any extra, so I can't give it to you even if I wanted to. The old man's expression softened a little. Then let me borrow it first? Xianxia snickered and pointed at the box in his hand. Lend me that worm too. I'll give you any open heaven pills if I get them. The old man was moved. Really? Xianxia put his arm around the old man's shoulders affectionately. We are neighbors, and we'll see each other regularly as we work together in the future. What's the benefit of me lying to you? It's because I made a promise to Ruler of the Dawn Great General, and I'll be in trouble if I can't complete the task within a month. Seems you're at least a bit sincere. The old man pondered for a while. If that's the case, this old master can lend you this. Xianxia quickly noted. I should mention this. I can't guarantee that Ruler of the Dawn Great General will give me any open heaven pills. Naturally. The old man nodded. I also want to remind you that it is difficult to even catch 5 jade fire silkworms within a month. We might not get that number even if we combine the worms of both our orchards. Even 5 is difficult? Xianxia was stunned. There are not many jade fire silkworms to begin with, and we also need to leave some behind to help nurture the fire spirit fruit trees, so we can't capture them all. Xianxia chuckled. We just have to work hard together for 1 month. When the time comes, I will be able to complete the task, and the open heaven pills will be yours when we are rewarded by Ruler of the Dawn Great General. Deal. Xianxia reached to grab the box, and the old man did not refuse this time, and the box went directly into his hand. Xianxia extended his hand again, the incense. The old man handed over the incense fragments. Xianxia asked while examining the object, where did you get this thing? I'll have to prepare a set for myself in the future. The old man replied, you're new, so of course you wouldn't know. You can buy it at the shopping district when we go back. Xianxia nodded. You did mention that she would take him to the shopping district in the future. It looked like this trip to the shopping district was a must. Xianxia became much more enthusiastic when he received the new tools. He checked the trees one by one, searching for jade fire silkworms. But as the old man said, there were not many, and some needed to be left behind. He did not manage to find any worms that day, but Xianxia had now gotten a hang of caring for the fruit trees. The days went by smoothly as Xianxia worked hard in his little plot of land, as well as the old man's under the latter's guidance. In their free time, the two of them would play games together. The old man was excellent at chess, and defeated Xianxia many times, but Xianxia was not discouraged. Since he was not able to cultivate for the time being, it was a good way to kill some time. After getting along for more than 10 days, their relationship had become a little more cordial. On the stone table next to a thatched hut under a fruit tree, black and white chess pieces were deployed in formation. Xianxia sat on the stone bench, staring right in front of him dauntlessly. Old Fong, it's your turn. After more than 10 days of getting along, Xianxia learned that the old man's surname was Fong, but he did not know his full name. The old man did not disclose it, and he did not seem to mind when Xianxia repeatedly addressed him as Old Fong either. On the opposite side, Old Fong smiled when he heard the words, picked up a chess piece, and taunted. Smelly brat. You play chess too aggressively. Your killing intent is too strong. He placed the chess piece down, and the encirclement that Xianxia had worked so hard to set up fell apart in an instant, allowing the black dragon to open up a bloody path. Xianxia could not help gaping. Just when he was thinking hard, he heard a pop and a figure appeared next to him. Old Fong immediately got up and saluted respectfully Manager Zhou. The visitor was Zhou Zheng. Xianxia also stood up and cupped his fists. Greetings, Manager Zhou. Zhou Zheng glanced at the two of them and frowned. What are you doing here when you're supposed to be tending the fruit trees? Xianxia replied, I have already taken care of them. I have nothing to do, so I came to spend some time with Old Fong. You're done taking care of them? Zhou Zheng smiled. How can you be so confident as a newcomer? Xianxia explained. Although I am a newcomer, I have benefited a lot from Old Fong's teachings, and already learned how to take care of the fruit trees. If Manager Zhou is doubtful, I can accompany you to inspect them. There's no need. This manager is in charge of the entire orchard, and I don't have the time to investigate each and every plot of land. But I want to remind you that a few fruit trees have died in your land over the past few years. You'd better pay more attention. If something goes wrong, no one can protect you. Many thanks for Manager Zhou's reminder. Yang Kai sounded grateful, but in fact he was disgusted. Why did he not inform Yang Kai at the beginning when he was assigned to such a piece of land? However, Zhou Zheng's seemingly kind expression did not allow him an opportunity to complain about it. Furthermore, Zhou Zheng was the manager of the orchard, and he was only a worker. It would only put him at a disadvantage if he really started a conflict with him. Zhou Zheng nodded and continued, "Be more diligent in your work. The fire spirit fruit will mature in 3 years. It will benefit us a lot if we can complete the tasks assigned by Venerable." He pointed at the chessboard. "You better not do such activities anymore. If the chief manager calls for an inspection and sees it, you will be in deep trouble." "Yes." Old Fong nodded respectfully. Without another word, Zhou Zheng took off into the sky. It seemed that he was going to visit other places. When he was far away, Old Fong finally sighed, get an opportunity to send something over to him. "It seems that you really offended him." Yang Kai wondered, "Why do you say so?" Old Fong explained, "This is not the first time he has seen me play chess with others, but he has never said anything about it before, only today." "Why do you think he did that?" Yang Kai found it funny and infuriating at the same time. "I'm a newcomer. What do I have to give him? This person is really too petty." He wondered what happened to Ah Sun, as she probably did not send him anything either. Old Fong pointed at him and lectured, "Smelly brat. If you want to live a good life, you can't be stingy, you know? We are his subordinates after all." Yang Kai did not want to continue the topic, so he changed the subject and asked, "He mentioned a chief manager. Who is that?" "The orchard in each spirit land has a manager just like him, but there is also a chief manager above them, who reports directly to Heavenly Monarch. The chief manager is Heavenly Monarch's right-hand man, so even venerables have to pay him respect." Yang Kai nodded in acknowledgement. "By the way, what's wrong with your land? Have you found anything yet?" Old Fong asked again. "There's no problem." Yang Kai frowned. "I have checked the entire land inside and out more than 10 times, but there's nothing wrong with it. You can see how healthy the fruit trees are now. If there is a problem, the fruit trees would be the first to react to it." Old Fong sighed. Actually, Manager Zhou also checked the place himself, but he found nothing, yet still the trees died somehow. "You better pray for yourself. Let's not talk about this. What matters now is the 5 jade fire silkworms. What do you think will happen if I fail to fulfill the requirements of ruler of the Dawn Great General? It certainly won't be good. Could he have forgotten about it? After all, he's just a chicken. Great General may forget other things, but he certainly won't forget about jade fire silkworms." "That's troublesome." Yang Kai frowned. Since he caught the first jade fire silkworm that day, he had not found a second one. Although Old Fong's fruit trees did have jade fire silkworms, they couldn't be removed. Old Fong told him that a number of worms must be left behind, as if all were caught, it would definitely have an undesired impact on the fruit trees, and a matter that affected the fruit trees was a matter of life or death to workers. Yang Kai believed that if he insisted on capturing the worms, Old Fong would go all out with him. His eyes flickered, and Yang Kai immediately lowered his voice. "Do you think I can go to someone else's orchard to search for the worms?" Old Fong smiled wryly. "No one in their right mind would agree with you doing that." Yang Kai patted him on the shoulder. "So, Old Fong, I'm counting on you to help." Old Fong exclaimed, "What can I do to help?" Yang Kai bent his fingers and motioned for the old man to lean over and whispered for a while. Old Fong's face became increasingly darker, and before Yang Kai could finish speaking, he burst out scram. "I can't believe you could come up with such a terrible idea. If we get caught, both you and I will be finished." "Don't exaggerate things." Yang Kai was stunned. "I just want you to help me distract them. Be careful. Don't be too eager for quick success. Jade fire silkworms are timid and are easily scared away. If you let it run away, you will never catch it again." In front of a fruit tree, Old Fong sent Yang Kai a divine sense transmission quietly while monitoring his movements nervously. Yang Kai held a box in one hand and a burning incense in the other. His expression was solemn, as if he was having a life-and-death battle with someone. Upon receiving the transmission, he replied impatiently, "I know. You've said it many times. Can you not just relax?" Old Fong smacked his lips and kept his silence. The scent of the incense permeated the air, and a small scarlet head slowly emerged from the hole in the tree, attracted by the scent. When half of its body was out of the tree, Xianxia swung his other hand, directly sending the long worm into the box, then slammed it shut with a laugh. "It's done." Old Fong looked sideways at him. "This is only the second worm. Why are you so happy? Don't forget, you promised to catch 5 for Great General." Xianxia's laughter stopped abruptly, the corner of his mouth twitching. "What should I do?" Old Fong sneered. "How should this old master know? There's not much time left. It's already been a month?" Xianxia was stunned. As he was talking, a bell rang all of a sudden. Without waiting for Xianxia to question, Old Fong announced, "We can leave now. The next 3 days are our break time." "Don't go." Xianxia grabbed him and continued surreptitiously, "Let's wait for a while, once the others leave." Before he could finish, however, he suddenly felt a strong and irresistible repulsion around him. A flash of light blurred his vision, and he was already outside the orchard when he regained his senses. Xianxia was dumbstruck. Perhaps it was because he held on to Old Fong, so he found himself next to him. "As soon as the time's up, no one can stay inside. You better pray hard for yourself," Old Fong explained. When he finished, he turned around and rushed towards the workers' room. Xianxia scratched his head and watched the others depart in streams of light. He had no choice but to keep up with them. Although the past month as a worker had been safe and sound, he failed to fulfill his promise to the ruler of the Dawn Great General regarding the 5 jade fire silkworms. In fact, he only had 2 right now. He had no idea how the golden rooster would react when he found out. However, it was useless to think too much at this point, so Xianxia could only move forward and solve things as they came up. In the orchard, he had to circulate his strength to resist the scorching heat at all times, so it was truly hectic for him, though he believed that it was just as exhausting for the others. When Xianxia returned to the village where the workers' rooms were, he saw that every door was closed. Everyone was probably resting inside. Returning to his own residence, he opened the barrier, sat cross-legged and adjusted his breathing, meditating for the whole night. In the early morning of the next day, the golden rooster announced the breaking of dawn so loudly that even the barrier could not block out the sound. Knowing that he had 3 days off, Xianxia did not bother to pay attention to it. Beyond his expectation, a knock on the door came up a moment later and continued without pause. "Who is it?" Xianxia opened his eyes and shouted. There was no response outside the door, but the knock persisted in a steady rhythm. He had no choice but to get up, and when he opened the door, he was dazzled by a burst of golden light. A half-man tall golden rooster stood as majestic as a statue outside the door. Their eyes stared into each other for a while. Then Xianxia closed the door with a slam. After 3 breaths of time, the door was hammered viciously as if a volcano erupted. Not only that, but the ruler of the Dawn Great General started to crow too. Xianxia understood that the situation was bad, and he knew that Zhou Zheng would be alarmed if he ignored things. Zhou Zheng intended to cause him trouble from the beginning, and if he had any excuse, Xianxia would definitely suffer from it. Without a choice, he opened the door again and put on a surprised face. "So it is ruler of the Dawn Great General. What a rare guest." Great General seemed notably maddened and pecked at Xianxia with its beak, which Xianxia immediately dodged, and asked in shock, "What is the meaning of this, Great General?" Great General blocked the door with its fat buttock and continued to crow as he flapped his wings. Xianxia cursed secretly in his heart, "This damn chicken has a good memory. It still remembers the agreement until now, even if it was a month ago. I just came back to rest for a night, and it already came to visit me." As its noise was getting louder and louder, many workers had opened their doors to check what was going on. Therefore, Xianxia had no choice but to take out the treasure box and announced, "Great General, do you want jade fire silkworms? I caught them for you. They're inside here. Please calm down." As soon as he took out the box, the ruler of the Dawn Great General immediately calmed down. Its eyes locked on the box. Xianxia could not help complaining silently. "If you like to eat worms so much, why don't you just go to the orchard to catch them instead of requesting others to bring them back for you?" Under the ruler of the Dawn Great General's watchful eyes, Xianxia took out a jade fire silkworm from the box. The next moment, ruler of the Dawn Great General extended its neck to peck, and the jade fire silkworm disappeared. Eat slowly, no one will snatch it from you. Xianxia smiled, but he was thinking about what to say after he fed him the last jade fire silkworm. The golden rooster did not seem to be fooled easily, and Xianxia had no idea what would happen if he only produced 2 of the 5 promised worms. Why don't I just drag it inside and butcher it? Xianxia gave up as soon as the thought flitted across his mind. Given that so many people saw the golden rooster in front of his door, if anything happened to Great General, Xianxia would definitely be suspected. After delaying as much as he could, he fed the second jade fire silkworm to Great General. Xianxia scratched his chin and probed tentatively. Great General may not know about this. This jade fire silkworm has a strong fire attribute strength. If you eat too many at once, I'm afraid it will be bad for your health. How about this? Great General should go back and have a rest first before eating the remaining 3 worms. Great General ignored the advice and instead turned his head to the side and stared at Xianxia with one eye, full of humanized mockery. Xianxia suddenly became angry out of shame as he felt he was despised by a chicken. Before he could say anything more, a pleasant voice came from the outside. Xianxia, you forgot this with me. When the words fell, an object was tossed into Xianxia's face. Xianxia reached up to catch it, and when he saw what it was, joy filled his face. It was a worm-catching box, and when he scanned it with his divine sense, he could tell that there were exactly 3 jade fire silkworms inside. He looked up and nodded at the visitor to show his gratitude, then shook the box in his hand as he continued. Does Great General still want to eat? Oh. Xianxia did not want to waste time on him anymore, only hoping to send the scourge away as soon as possible. So he swiftly fed the 3 jade fire silkworms to him before letting out a sigh. Great General, 5 jade fire silkworms, no more and no less. Fortunately, I did not fail my mission. Oh. Ruler of the Dawn, Great General crowed at him again. Xianxia's face darkened. Great General, what does this mean? We made an agreement a month ago. Do you want to renege on our deal now? Jieyu, who leaned on the doorframe and watched the show, covered her mouth and smiled. Great General says he is a man of his word, so how can he break his promise? Smelly brat. Give him your hand. Great General is giving out a reward. A reward. Hearing this, Xianxia raised his brow, but immediately understood what it meant and hurriedly extended his hand to the ruler of the Dawn, Great General. The ruler of the Dawn, Great General, opened its mouth and a mass of golden light floated out of it, falling on Xianxia's palm. When the light dispersed, a spirit pill glowing in 7 colored lights sat on his palm. Is this an open heaven pill? Although Xianxia had not seen open heaven pills before, he could still identify it from the information that he obtained in the previous conversation with Old Fong. This spirit pill in his hand was definitely an open heaven pill. He had heard that if the ruler of the Dawn, Great General, was in a good mood, he might give out open heaven pills, but he did not expect to get one so soon. Xianxia was overjoyed and quickly cupped his fists. Many thanks, Great General. At that moment, the ruler of the Dawn, Great General, had already turned around and walked out of the door with his wiggling butt. Get home safe, Great General. Come and play again when you're free. Jieyu greeted with a smile. After the golden rooster left, Xianxia grinned and shook the open heaven pill in his hand. So lucky. Jieyu rolled her eyes at him and revealed. Every newcomer will be rewarded an open heaven pill when they feed a jade fire silkworm to Great General for the first time. Xianxia was surprised. Is it for certain? Jieyu shrugged her shoulders and I haven't seen an exception for all these years. Xianxia was stunned for a long time before he began cursing through gritted teeth. That old fox. It was no wonder Old Fong was so cheerful when he asked to borrow the worm-catching tools. It seemed that he knew about this custom too. Xianxia thought Old Fong was a generous soul, but now it seemed that the old man had known about Great General's habits and had been aiming for this open heaven pill since the beginning. Just as Xianxia understood this point, the old fox appeared. Old Fong rushed into the house with a flicker and nodded at Jieyu with a smile. Sister Jieyu is here. Old Fong. Jieyu nodded. I'm here to find this little brat. Old Fong pointed at Xianxia and went straight to him, stretched out his hand, and continued, Take it out, brat. Don't tell me you have nothing. Looking at his bright smile and his appearance of having achieved a great victory, Xianxia really felt like taking out his azure dragon spear and stabbing Old Fong to death. Hurry up, What are you waiting for? Old Fong urged, just like a predatory creditor. Yang Kai clenched his teeth as he slammed the open heaven pill on Old Fong's palm. Old Fong immediately beamed and put it away carefully. Then he stretched out his hand again. How about my things? Give them back to me too. Lend them to me a bit longer. Yang Kai turned his head away. What? How is this old master supposed to catch worms if he lends you the tools? Return them to me, or this old master will fight you to the death. You can try. Yang Kai glared sideways at him. The old man turned to Jieyu and complained. Sister Jieyu, be our judge. This shitty brat doesn't want to return what he borrowed. Isn't he too terrible? Jieyu chuckled. Since when did you two become so close? Old Fong rolled his eyes. This old master is not close to him. It's just that his plot is next to mine. You have no idea. This old master has been used by him as a slave this past month. It was a true living hell. Jieyu's face changed drastically at Old Fong's words, and she questioned in a deep voice. The plot next to yours? Isn't that plot? Old Fong nodded, and that one. Jieyu frowned. After pondering for a while, she turned to Yang Kai, returned the tools to him. Elder sister will take you to buy a new set later. Yang Kai was unwilling as he had only just gotten that open heaven pill for a moment before it was taken away by Old Fong. He did not even have the time to study it carefully. Although he had made a promise earlier, he was still upset that Old Fong had set him up. However, since Jieyu had already spoken, it was unreasonable if he did not return it. So Yang Kai reluctantly returned the box and the remaining half of the incense. Old Fong took it and left happily. Glancing at Yang Kai, Jieyu laughed. All right, stop sulking. Although I don't know what agreement you made with Old Fong, since it is an agreement, it has to be fulfilled. You feel that you are at a loss only because you know too little about this place. You will gain wisdom with every lesson. Just be careful in the future. Yang Kai nodded and acknowledged. He was actually not really angry. Although Old Fong did hide information from him, he did teach Yang Kai a lot in the past month. Many thanks for your assistance, Sister Jieyu. Yang Kai thanked her with cupped fists. If Jieyu had not brought 3 jade fire silkworms today, who knows what kind of commotion the golden rooster would have caused. Jieyu looked at him with a smile. So, it's not elder sister anymore? Yang Kai wondered. Since when did I call you that? Jieyu pursed her lips. Didn't you call me elder sister here? Elder sister there back then? Yang Kai rolled his eyes and changed the subject. So, did sister come here on purpose because you knew that I couldn't get 5 jade fire silkworms? Jieyu nodded. You're a newcomer, you don't even have anything to catch the worms, how could you collect 5? I was also there when it happened, and since it was something I knew about, I couldn't just ignore it. I was even worried that I didn't bring enough, but good thing that you had already caught 2 on your own and just managed to complete your task. No matter what, this Yang will remember the kindness sister has shown today and will return the favor in the future. You better focus on getting over your current difficulties first. Jieyu frowned. What difficulties? There's something wrong with your plot. Jieyu looked at him. Didn't Old Fong tell you? And he said that 3 fruit trees have died in the past 10 years, and 3 people have been replaced, making me the 4th. Yang Kai rubbed his chin and continued. But I have also checked carefully, and there is nothing wrong with the land, and I can't see anything wrong with the fruit trees either for the time being. It doesn't mean there's no problem even if you can't see it. The people before you had also investigated thoroughly, but it only takes 1 month from the discovery of a problem to the death of the fruit tree. If you really find anything, you must be careful. Understood. Yang Kai nodded sternly. Good. It's rare to have a chance to rest. Do you want to go to the shopping district? Jieyu giggled at him. Yes. Yang Kai suddenly became energetic. I'm going to buy a set of worm-catching tools. Then come with me. Jieyu beckoned and led the way. Yang Kai closed the door and followed closely. The 2 soared straight into the sky. Yang Kai wondered, isn't the shopping district in Fire Spirit Land? Jieyu shook her head and laughed. The shopping district in 7 Wonders Land is for all spirit lands, so there are not only people from Fire Spirit Land there, but also people from other spirit lands. Yang Kai frowned in confusion. Will it matter if we just left like this? Will someone stop us or something? Although we can go out of Fire Spirit Land, the entire Seven Wonders Land is covered by a grand array, and there's no way to leave without an order and an exit pass, so don't even think about it. She suddenly whispered, "Seriously, don't even mention it. You won't end well if you get caught escaping." Yang Kai gave her a thoughtful look and replied softly, "I understand. As Dieu mentioned, there was no hindrance when they left Fire Spirit Land." Dieu let him out easily, and the two of them zoomed towards a cloud-covered land, using only an hour to arrive right before the cloud. Dieu sent him a transmission, "Follow me close and don't get lost," and she dived into the clouds, followed closely by Yang Kai. Everything seemed to be isolated from him as they sped through the clouds, except for the graceful figure in front of him. After a stick of incense, the surrounding cloud and mist dissipated, and what welcomed Yang Kai's eyes was a world that was dead and still yet lively and noisy. It was dead and still because there was not a single drop of world energy or vitality here, and not even the slightest greenery could be seen. The liveliness, on the other hand, was because of the packed crowds below that streamed back and forth. From a high altitude, buildings with different styles were arranged in a disorganized and unaesthetic way. The area of the entire shopping district was not large, only about 100 kilometers in diameter. One could see the end of the district at a glance, which was bordered by clouds and mist that rolled and churned with a sense of vitality. Dieu explained beside him, "This shopping district is said to be a universe world fragment. Heavenly Monarch brought it back from a trip outside and put it here as a place for us workers to exchange and trade." Yang Kai nodded with comprehension. No wonder it's so desolate. Since it was a universe world fragment, such a desolate scene did not come as a surprise. If the star boundary failed to stop Great Demon God's plan, it probably would fall apart into fragments just like this and be eaten by a leaving nothing behind. Suddenly curious, Yang Kai queried, "Where do the disciples in Seven Wonders Land do business?" "They do it at another place, and the things we have as workers generally would not pique their interests, but some Seven Wonders Land disciples are still needed here to maintain order. You should be careful if you see anyone wearing seven-colored robes. There are of course a few stores owned by Seven Wonders Land that do business with us workers here as well." "Understood." Yang Kai nodded. "The shopping district here is only open for 3 days a month, which are the 3 days when we get to rest, and it will be closed after that, so you have to come over during these 3 days if you have anything to buy." "Let's go down first. We'll get you a set of worm-catching tools." Dieu beckoned and flew down first. Yang Kai followed after her, looking around curiously. They were not the only ones, as many other workers flew down from every direction, obviously taking advantage of this free time to do trading in the shopping district. The pair landed in the crowd and were immediately surrounded by the hustle and bustle from all directions. Yang Kai was thrown into confusion for a while as he felt as if he had gone back in time, suddenly overwhelmed by nostalgia. The shopping district felt notably familiar to him, though the people around him were very different from before, as they had all condensed their own Tao seal. They were all considered great emperor-level masters in the star boundary. In the shopping district, most of the stalls were set up in no particular order, each displaying all sorts of strange goods. While some stall owners sat in the back and rested, some others were busy bargaining with interested buyers, some were even shouting vigorously in an attempt to attract onlookers. There were also some stores, but they were all built carelessly. They were far from beautiful and only slightly larger than the stalls set up everywhere else. Only a few storefronts were built in a stately manner, all of which were obviously the Seven Wonders Land storefronts that Dieu mentioned. Yang Kai was overwhelmed as he shuttled through the crowd. The people who came and went were from different universe worlds, and the things they had on them were basically unique to their respective homes, so most of the items placed on the booths were completely unrecognizable to Yang Kai. However, after walking for a while, Yang Kai found that despite its liveliness, there were not many successful deals made. Even if there were any, they were all barter trades. He pondered for a while on this subject before he understood. As workers, it was hard to earn just 3 open heaven pills every year, so each one was an extremely valuable asset. Naturally, they would not use open heaven pills as a currency for purchasing. Yang Kai suddenly realized a problem and opened his mouth to ask, "Xianxia, what do I need to buy that worm-catching tool?" "Open heaven pills. What did you call me?" Dieu turned to look at him. Yang Kai snickered. "Dieu? Jieyu glared at him, nodded, and replied, "That tool is made by Seven Wonders Land, and it can only be purchased with open heaven pills." "I don't have any open heaven pills." Yang Kai flailed his empty hands. "I'll lend you some." Jieyu smiled. Since she brought Yang Kai to this place, how could she not have considered this issue?
"There's no need to be so generous." Yang Kai rubbed his hands. "You'll have to return it with interest." Jieyu smiled slyly. Yang Kai nodded happily. "Deal?"
"I'll have to thank you in advance." Then he frowned. "In this case, how can newcomers buy worm-catching tools?"
"What if the worms on fruit trees needed to be caught?" Jieyu led the way while explaining. "They asked for help from the others, just like how you found Old Fang. No one will refuse such a good thing." Yang Kai suddenly understood. If someone else helped to catch the worms, the caught jade fire silkworms would belong to them, and they could give them to the ruler of the Dawn Great General, who may grant them open heaven pills. Naturally, no one would refuse such a deal.
One could even make an agreement with a newcomer just like Old Fang, by letting the newcomer feed the ruler of the Dawn Great General, and receive the guaranteed open heaven pill as a reward. Clearly, it was not easy for a newcomer to gain a foothold here at all. While they were talking, the two had already arrived at the door of a certain storefront. Although this storefront was not built very magnificently, it was somewhat more impressive than average. Needless to say, this store belonged to Seven Wonders Land. The staff in the store were Seven Wonders Land disciples, all of whom donned 7 colored robes. There was a stark difference between them and the workers. When the pair entered the store, they were not received with any warm greetings. A young man sitting behind the counter with his head down asked casually, "What do you want to buy?" Jieyu stepped forward and smiled. "Senior brother, I want to buy a cyan wood box and 2 boxes of refined incense." Hearing her sweet voice, the young man raised his head and replied with a smile,
30 open heaven pills." His eyes swept up and down as he spoke, stopping on her voluptuous peaks. Jieyu frowned and asked, "Senior brother, are you mistaken?"
"It was only 25 pills before." The young man leaned back on the chair and snickered. "The price has increased." "When did that happen?" "The price hadn't gone up when I came here 3 months ago." The young man replied, "This month. Does little sister not have enough open heaven pills?" "It's fine. Do you want senior brother here to give you some?"
"Not only that, I can give you an open heaven pill every month." "Senior brother's kindness is appreciated but unnecessary." Jieyu shook her head slowly, then waved her hand over the counter on which 30 open heaven pills were placed. The young man looked at the open heaven pills on the table and asked, chuckling, 30 open heaven pills is worth 10 years of pay as a worker. It's quite a long time." "Are you sure?" Jieyu pursed her red lips. "Many thanks for senior brother's concern. I can still afford 30 open heaven pills." "Good." The young man nodded, reaching out with his hand and swiping the open heaven pills into his pocket before he took out a wooden box and 2 boxes of incense. He then nodded and continued to work on his own business. Jieyu kept the purchases, said goodbye politely, and led Yang Kai away. "Take your time to think about it when you go back. You can find me here at any time. I will be here every time the shopping district opens." The young man's voice came from behind.
Ignoring him, Jieyu kept walking and soon disappeared into the crowd. Yang Kai, who had been following behind her, could not help looking back at the storefront and sighing lightly. He had been hanging out with Old Fang in the orchard for a month, but he still did not know much about the situation as a worker here. However, he started to understand now. He was not a child, and given that the young man was willing to give Jieyu items for no reason and promised to give her an open heaven pill every month, Yang Kai knew his motive. A pill a month would mean 12 pills a year. Compared to working hard as a worker, it was 4 times the income. Jieyu could have just nodded and agreed to serve him, and she would not have to suffer anymore. Who knows? She might even stand a chance to get rid of her status as a worker with the help of this Seven Wonders Land disciple. Nevertheless, Yang Kai was relieved that the young man did not force her. He wondered if it was due to the regulations of his sect or other reasons. Otherwise, Jieyu had no way to resist him at all. Then again, even if Jieyu really agreed to it, Yang Kai would not judge her.
Firstly, they were not that familiar with each other, and Yang Kai had no right to tell her what to do. Secondly, if she could find a way out for herself, Yang Kai would be happy for her too. A worker's life would remain unchanged even after 1,000 years.
How long would it take for her to shake it off through conventional means? You just arrived in the outer universe. But do you know how the power structure is divided? Jieyu suddenly turned to him and asked. Yang Kai answered, the open heaven realm is divided into 9 orders? Diyu smiled faintly. Since you already know, there's no need to waste time on it. There are many materials to condense one's yin, yang, and the 5 elements in this shopping district. It can be said that most of the stuff sold in this shopping district is related to that. You can look around more and maybe you can find something useful in the future. Really? Yang Kai was excited and immediately looked around, soon finding something interesting and hurriedly rushing over towards it. When Yang Kai came to a stall, the stall owner immediately welcomed him enthusiastically. Little brother, are you looking for something? Take a look here and pick anything you like. My stuff has the best quality and the lowest price. I promise you won't be disappointed. There were not many things on the stall, including several herbs that Yang Kai could not recognize, several weirdly shaped minerals, and a longsword. What attracted Yang Kai's attention was a scarlet-colored fist-sized crystal, which the color was so pure that it did not have a trace of variegation. Yang Kai felt a scorching fire element reverberating from the crystal. Little brother has good eyesight. This fire spirit crystal is the best item here. Took me a lot of effort to get it back in those days. If little brother buys it, I'm sure you will be able to condense your 5 elements and be one step closer to the open heaven realm. Hehehe, once you reach the open heaven realm, you can get rid of your status as a worker and soar to success. The stall owner spared no effort to promote his wares. Why sell such a good thing instead of using it for yourself? Yang Kai played with the fire spirit crystal in his hand and looked at the stall owner with a smile. The stall owner put on a long face. Little brother, do you know that once you choose one of the yin, yang, and 5 elements, the order in which you must condense the rest is set? There will be endless trouble if you deviate from the path. To be honest, what I need now is a water element material, so this fire spirit crystal is temporarily useless to me. I just want to sell it first and then use the money to buy the material I need. If not, why would I be willing to sell it? After listening to his reasonable explanation, Yang Kai nodded gently. How much? The stall owner drew a number with his hands. Since little brother seems to be a nice person, I won't quote any false price, and you don't try to bargain either. 150 open heaven pills. Pay now and you'll have it, are you interested? Yang Kai turned to Dieu and Dieu returned with a smile, the price is reasonable. The stall owner beamed, see, even your companion says the price is reasonable. This Lu only engages in clean business and never supports scamming. If you think it's appropriate, we can make a deal now. Yang Kai shook his head slowly and put down the fire spirit crystal in his hand. Sorry, I've only been here for a month and I don't have any open heaven pill now. Ah. Instead of being annoyed, the stall owner gave Yang Kai a smile. It's all right. We can still be friends even if we can't make a deal today. It's not too late for you to save enough open heaven pills to buy it later. Of course, only if my fire spirit crystal has not met its destined owner by then. It would require at least 40 to 50 years to earn 150 open heaven pills. Anything could happen in such a long time. Then I wish Brother Lu a prosperous business and bountiful wealth. Yang Kai cupped his fists. I shall take advantage of little brother's auspicious words. The stall owner grinned. When they were a good distance away from the stall, Dieu finally spoke, if you're not in a hurry, save more open heaven pills first. That fire spirit crystal that you just saw is only a first-order material. If you use that kind of thing to condense your fire element, your future achievements will be very limited. That fire spirit crystal is only first order? Yang Kai was shocked. There were 9 orders in the open heaven realm, so the materials that were used to condense the yin, yang, and 5 elements were also categorized into 9 orders, first order being the lowest while 9th order was the highest. However, that was all Yang Kai knew, and without any reference, he was clueless about how to distinguish the order of materials. Still, even if Dieu did not mention it, he would have inquired about it. Yes, you can use first-order materials to condense the required elements before splitting heaven and earth apart within your body, but you will only reach the first order of the open heaven realm. Yang Kai frowned. Is anyone going to buy something like that? People with profound backgrounds and origins naturally are not interested in buying such materials, but for workers like us, we don't really have a choice. Over the years, I've seen many workers reach the open heaven realm and get rid of their lowly status, but they generally only reach the first or second order. What's the point of escaping the status of being a worker if they have to sacrifice their entire future for it? There are workers who reach the open heaven realm? Xianxia was dumbfounded. If so, his previous estimation was wrong.
He thought that there were around 8 open heaven realm masters in Seven Wonders Land, but now it seemed that there could be more than 80 of them. However, the strength that these first order and second order open heaven realm masters could exert must be limited. Still, it should be superior to any Emperor realm master. If first order materials cost 150 open heaven pills, what about second order materials? Xianxia questioned. Generally, the value difference of the materials between every order gap is tenfold. Tenfold. Xianxia was startled. According to her, a second-order material would be 1,500 pills, a third-order material would be 15,000 pills, a fourth-order material would be 150,000 pills, a fifth-order material would be more than 1,000,000, and a sixth-order material. Xianxia suddenly felt a little dizzy. The open heaven realm has 9 orders, and these 9 orders are also categorized into 3 grades by others, which were the high-rank open heaven realm, mid-rank open heaven realm, and low-rank open heaven realm. The 7th, 8th, and 9th order belong to the high rank, the 4th, 5th, and 6th order belong to the mid-rank, while the 1st, 2nd, 3rd order belong to the low rank. Among these, 4th order and 7th order are the 2 important dividing lines.
If you want to be successful in this outer universe, you should at least achieve the 4th order open heaven realm. Xianxia nodded with a solemn face. Understood. Suddenly he whispered,
Do you know what the open heaven realm orders of Heavenly Monarch and the Venerables are? Jie shook her head slowly. No idea, but I once heard that Heavenly Monarch is either 4th order or 5th order open heaven realm.
The orders of the Venerables are probably a little lower than Heavenly Monarchs. Xianxia nodded. As they walked and talked, Xianxia would stop in front of the stalls from time to view the yin, yang, and the 5 elements materials and inquired about the price.
It was exactly as Dau disclosed. The price gap between every order or material was tenfold. Moreover, looking at the whole shopping district, the materials put out in the workers' stalls were all just first and second order, with nothing in the third order and above. Thinking about it, it was not surprising at all. All the workers of Seven Wonders Land came from different universe worlds and were essentially the lowest of laborers in the outer universe.
Even if they had anything good, they probably had no chance to keep it, for Zhou and others like him would always be expecting gifts from them. It was exactly because Xianxia did not give Zhou anything that he was assigned a plot of land with a history of dead trees. The workers were only able to preserve these first-order and second-order materials. Have you condensed your wood element? Jie suddenly asked. Without denying, Xianxia nodded. There was no point denying it.
In any case, the immortal tree's power had been completely stored in his Dao seal, and no one could tell what order it was now. Furthermore, it was not surprising that Dau noticed this since he had paid a lot of attention to any fire attribute materials along the way.
Dau continued, If so, next time when you go to the orchard, you can try using your wood element power to nourish the fruit trees. Wood sustains fire? Xianxia raised his brow. Dau laughed. Exactly. But remember to control the power well. Even a good thing in excess can be bad. I see. I'll be careful. At that moment they came to a shop. Could be regarded as the largest building in the entire shopping district. The 3-story building stood out among the scattered shops in the shopping district like a crane amongst chickens. Let's go in and open your eyes. Dau smiled. What do they sell? Xianxia looked up and saw 3 characters embossed on a plaque right in front of the store. Open Heaven Temple. Upon entering the store, Xianxia immediately understood what business Open Heaven Temple did. It was also a place that sold yin, yang, and the 5 elements materials, but the scale and layout were far better compared to the messy booths outside. He followed behind Dau and the 2 of them walked around the first floor. Xianxia was dazzled by the display counters, which were filled with yin, yang, 5 elements materials. There were multitudes of options. However, the prices were a little higher than the ones placed at the stalls outside. Even so, from time to time, deals were made with the 7 Wonders Land disciples donned in 7 colored robes. Are all these first order too? Xianxia asked in a low voice. On this shopping trip, he learned to deduce the order of these materials, and after walking around, he found that the materials on the first floor were all first order. Jieyu nodded. The items on the first floor are all first order. Items on the second floor are second order, and the third floor, third order. Xianxia's eyes lit up. Are third order materials for sale here? According to his previous calculations, a third order material required more than 15,000 open heaven pills, which was an impossible number for a worker. According to the worker's wages, it would take at least 5,000 years to save up this much. But who would not spend a single open heaven pill on anything else to eat or drink in such a long time? Not to mention that no worker would really work here for 5,000 years. Want to see? Jieyu smiled at him. Xianxia replied, Since I have come, naturally I want to. Let's go then. Jieyu beckoned and led Xianxia up the stairs. They didn't stop at the second floor and went directly to the third floor. The area of the third floor was obviously much smaller than that of the first, and there was not nearly as much selection. Seven Wonders Land obviously knew it was extremely difficult for workers to purchase third-order materials, so it was useless to display many of them here. Only some materials were laid out casually as a way to give the workers some hope and to motivate them to work harder. Xianxia could not help thinking that the items on the third floor to the workers were just like carrots dangling in front of a donkey. See for yourself, Jieyu laughed. As long as you don't touch anything, no one will worry about you. Xianxia nodded and walked around with his hands folded behind his back. There were also disciples from Seven Wonders Land on the third floor, but as Jieyu said, as long as he did not touch anything, they didn't pay him any mind. Xianxia moved from one counter to another, slowly observing and memorizing the characteristics of each and every third-order material. For a person who used the Immortal tree to condense his wood element, Xianxia was naturally not impressed by the third-order materials here. Although he was a newcomer to the outer universe, Xianxia had set his aim high from the very beginning. For the sake of the Immortal tree, he had to find other materials that matched its order to advance to the open heaven realm. Otherwise, his excellent start would be wasted. He came here mainly just to explore and expand his horizons. The third floor was not big, so it did not take long for Xianxia to finish viewing everything, after which he looked up and saw Jieyu stopping in front of a counter and walked over. Following her gaze, he saw a bundle of irregular-shaped objects filled with metal element aura placed on the counter. Jieyu watched with longing at the objects that continuously twisted and contorted into eccentric shapes. Xianxia's brow twitched and whispered, Do you want to buy this? Jieyu turned to look at him and smiled. Are you done looking at everything? Xianxia nodded. Done. There is nothing much to see. As soon as he mentioned this, Xianxia felt a sharp gaze, and when he looked up, a Seven Wonders Land disciple keeping the third floor threw him a sarcastic look. Probably because what he said just now sounded a little like shameless boasting. After all, to any worker, the price for all these objects was sky-high, and there were very few capable buyers. What Xianxia said sounded ridiculous in this disciple's eyes. They didn't know that for Xianxia, the items here were really unattractive. How many open heaven pills is this? Xianxia asked again. 16,000. Jieyu replied. She obviously had already inquired about the price before, and it was a little higher than what Xianxia had estimated. But there was little bargaining room, as this was the only place a worker could purchase third-order materials in the entire Seven Wonders Land. As the saying goes, what is rare will be more expensive, and the increased price was still within an acceptable range. Do you have enough? Xianxia tilted his head at her. Jieyu burst out laughing. How is that possible? I don't even have 30% of that. Xianxia frowned. But this is only a third-order material. Jieyu tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and smiled. I know what you want to say. I felt the same way when I first came to the outer universe, trying to find better materials to condense my yin, yang, and 5 elements. Even if I can't reach the high-rank open heaven realm in a single bound, I have to at least achieve the mid-rank, but ideas and reality are two different things. It's actually not too bad if I really reached the third-order open heaven realm. Then I can consume open heaven pills to increase my order. If I'm lucky, I might even be able to reach the 5th-order open heaven realm in this lifetime, and a fifth-order open heaven master is already a hegemon in this vast world. Yang Kai nodded when he heard her explanation. Fair enough. There might not be a single fifth-order open heaven master in the entire Seven Wonders land. Even if there was, it would most probably be the heavenly monarch only, while the venerable protectors should not be fifth order. Yang Kai could not help but sigh. How many people's ambition and passion had time extinguished? If one's situation had not changed after 1,000 years, could they remain as optimistic as they were before?
Yang Kai did not know. When I've earned enough, I'll buy it for you, Yang Kai declared. Diayu covered her mouth and giggled. Then elder sister will thank you in advance. Obviously, she did not take his words seriously.
After staying here for 1,000 years, she knew better than anyone how difficult it was for a worker to earn 16,000 open heaven pills. By the looks of Diayu's longing for the metal element material, Yang Kai could not help but wonder if she had already condensed her earth element. Otherwise, why would she act like that? While the two were talking, a sudden sound of footsteps thundered from the stairs, and an imposing figure burst in from the stairwell, revealing a huge man, whose steps caused the entire open heaven temple to tremble. His copper bell-like eyes swept across the floor and suddenly lit up.
He walked towards them with a smile on his face and greeted cheerfully, "Xiao Die, you really are here." Hearing the voice, Diayu's face darkened all of a sudden and she turned her head aside without giving a response. Yang Kai looked over and could not help feeling a little surprised.
This tall and mighty figure was well over 2 meters high, and in just 2 or 3 strides, he reached right in front of Diayu with a grin on his face. Diayu, who already had a tall figure for a woman, looked like a child standing in front of him. Even Yang Kai had to raise his head to look up at this man. The person in front of him resembled a big black bear standing on its hind legs, permeating a strong sense of oppression. The bear was smiling from ear to ear, but the smile immediately vanished when he saw Yang Kai next to Diayu.
He pointed at Yang Kai with a big fan-like palm and demanded, "Xiao Die, who is this little brat?" However, before Diayu could reply, the Seven Wonders land disciple who was tending the 3rd floor barked, "Quiet down or I'll kick you out." The bear's head immediately shrunk a little at the reprimand and he swiftly nodded at the Seven Wonders land disciple. "Senior brother, please calm yourself." This little brother lost control of his emotions just now and was a little loud.
"Please forgive me." The Seven Wonders land disciple snorted coldly but did not say anything more. The bear threw Yang Kai a vicious look, then turned to smile at Diayu again. "Xiao Die, have you come to see this stainless golden dew again? You have been coming here every month just to see it. Let's just buy it together. You have saved a lot of open heaven pills and I have some too. If we sell some of our things, we should be able to accumulate enough to buy it. By then you can look at it all you want." "No need." Diayu frowned and beckoned to Yang Kai. "Let's go. There is nothing else to see here." After saying that, she took the lead and walked away. Just as Yang Kai was about to follow, he was shoved aside by the bear. Seeing him chase after Diayu downstairs, Yang Kai scratched his nose and followed them leisurely. After leaving Open Heaven Temple, Diayu dove into the crowd. The bear continued to follow her like a shadow, and although he was burly, his movements were extremely flexible, managing to squeeze between the crowd, trying to engage in a conversation with his target. It was a pity that Diayu's response was nonchalant, apparently completely uninterested in speaking to him. Even a blind man could tell that this bear-like man was interested in Diayu, but it was no surprise. With Diayu's curvy figure and alluring appearance, it was only natural that she would attract the attention and admiration of some men. Even the Seven Wonders land disciple from the place where they bought the wooden box and incense took a fancy to her. But unfortunately, Diayu did not seem to care much about any of these men. The big bear did not mind, however, and just kept laughing with her all the way, talking constantly to engage in a conversation with her while trying his best to be courteous. Yang Kai saluted him too, for his skin was so thick that it could be compared to the dragon scales on his own body. All of a sudden, Diayu stopped abruptly, then looked back at Yang Kai and said, "I'm going back first. Do you want to stay here a little while longer?" Yang Kai was stunned for a moment before he understood what Diayu meant and smiled. "I'll stay for a bit. Many thanks, Sister Diayu." "No problem." Diayu smiled, then soared into the sky. The bear was a little slow to respond as he was still standing where he stopped, rubbing his chin. Stealing a glance at Yang Kai, he then quickly chased after Dieu, shouting, "Xiao Dia, wait for me." Watching the two leave, Yang Kai chuckled softly, learning that Dieu was indeed quite thoughtful. She asked that earlier, not because she was in a hurry to get rid of him, but because she did not want the bear to cause him trouble. Although Yang Kai was not afraid of trouble, it was better to avoid getting into any in this place, and the bear did not seem to be a reasonable individual. Wandering around alone in this shopping district was an eye-opening experience, but not very rewarding. It was getting late, and just when Yang Kai was about to leave, he heard someone calling his name. Yang Kai turned around and saw a figure waving at him from a small tea house in the distance. Yang Kai approached with a smile and called out, "Ah, son, you're here too." Ah Sun replied cheerfully, "And I heard that there's a shopping district here, so I came to have a look. I wanted to invite you to come along, but you weren't in your house." He did not have the intention of inviting Ah Sun along with him earlier, but thinking that Ah Sun actually thought of him, Yang Kai could not help feeling a bit ashamed of himself. Ah Sun was not alone in the tea house, as the several newcomers who came with the venerable protector were there too. It seemed that they came here together. But what surprised Yang Kai was how these people got the money to have tea here. Although this tea house looked simple and was also opened by a worker, there was no way for them to drink tea for free. In other words, they needed to pay open heaven pills in order to sit here and drink. Yang Kai turned around and had a look at the price list of all kinds of spirit tea. The cheapest pot of tea cost 1 open heaven pill, while the most expensive one was 10 open heaven pills. Everyone was new and poor. Even Yang Kai could only get 1 open heaven pill, all thanks to the reward of ruler of the Dawn Great General, but he was robbed by Old Fong of that earlier. The question was, where did they get the open heaven pill to pay for the tea? Looking at the way they were seated, the burly fellow from the Black River world was sitting in the main seat, which obviously meant he was treating today. "All of you are here," Yang Kai greeted with a smile. Although they were not too close, since they had spent some time together in the small universe of the venerable protector, they were not strangers to each other either, and they had already exchanged their names and backgrounds. The dignified woman Sun Yanyi, the male monster Shi Haotsong, and the naive boy Qian Yu got up and greeted Yang Kai in return. Only the burly man Fong Tai remained seated on the main seat, giving just a small nod. Yang Kai was astonished because Fong Tai was not so arrogant before. What changed him so much in this past month? However, Yang Kai did not have a deep relationship with these people, and Ah Sun was the only one he interacted with slightly more. It was impossible to judge a person's heart from his face, so without getting along with them for some time, Yang Kai would not know their true nature. In any case, he did not care too much about it and simply returned the gesture with a smile before asking, "Why are all of you here? Is the spirit tea here free?" Sun Yanyi smiled. "How can it be free? This pot of tea cost 1 open heaven pill." She turned to glance at Fong Tai as she continued. "But since Brother Fong insisted on treating us, it would be impolite if we refused him. Brother Yang, would you like to sit down and try it? Although the spirit tea is a little expensive, it's really good. Since Brother Yang is here too, let's drink together. We have something to discuss too." Fong Tai invited. "Many thanks." Then Yang Kai cupped his fists and sat down. Ah Sun quickly poured a cup of tea for Yang Kai, who took a sip and tasted it carefully. The tea was exceptionally good, and he emptied the cup in just a few sips, leaving him wanting for more. Nevertheless, there was not much tea left in the pot. The few of them had drunk some of the tea before, so there was only 1 cup left for Yang Kai. Yang Kai queried, "What did you want to discuss?" Fong Tai answered, "After a month of being here, we managed to have a grasp of the general situation. Since Brother Yang could find this shopping district by yourself, you must have gathered some information from others as well. You should know how difficult it is for newcomers like us to gain a foothold here." Yang Kai nodded and sighed. "I know indeed." Fong Tai smiled faintly. As such, this Fong thought that we should form an alliance and help each other. Everyone else has already agreed to it. "How about you, Brother Yang?" Hearing the proposal, Yang Kai answered, "Sure. We are all newcomers from the same batch, so if we don't help each other, no one will." Fong Tai's face turned serious. "That's what this Fong means. United we stand, divided we fall."
Everyone here must have been an overlord in their own universe worlds, but although we are a little suppressed in this outer universe, we will be able to achieve something in the future if the 5 of us work together. Yang Kai turned to glance at the others and found that they indeed had no objection. So he asked, I have no problem with this alliance, but how should we go about it specifically? Since we are forming our own group, it can't be just empty words. Let's say Sister Asun is bullied. Asun pouted. Why would I be the one being bullied? Do I look easy to bully? It's just an example. Yang Kai chuckled. Fong Tai answered, without violating the rules of 7 Wonders Land, we naturally have to seek justice for Sister Asun. There's nothing wrong with this answer, so Yang Kai naturally would not refute it. Fong Tai added, for another example, regarding the jade fire silkworm that grows on the fire spirit fruit trees that we're taking care of, if we catch them and give them to the ruler of the Dawn Great General, we might be rewarded with an open heaven pill. In this regard, this Fong can also help everyone. Feel free to call me to help at any time to catch worms for ruler of the Dawn Great General. If you really get the reward, this Fong will only claim half of the share. Yang Kai asked curiously, does Brother Fong have worm-catching tools? Sure, Hao Tsong interjected with a buzzing voice. Brother Yang has no idea. Brother Fong successfully made a contribution as soon as he was assigned a plot in the orchard, and was rewarded with 30 open heaven pills by Manager Zhou. Yang Kai blinked at Fong Tai while the latter continued modestly. It was just good luck. If it were any one of you, you could have done the same. Yang Kai kept smiling, but inside almost exploded from fury. The plot he was assigned had a history of dead trees, and the same problem could happen again at any time. On the other hand, Fong Tai benefited from the plot he was assigned. There was simply no comparison between them. Given that Fong Tai was rewarded with 30 open heaven pills, he must have made a massive contribution. However, Fong Tai did not disclose much about it, so it was inconvenient for Yang Kai to ask what the contribution he made was. However, it seemed like besides taking care of the fruit trees and offering jade fire silkworms to the ruler of the Dawn Great General, there were other ways for workers to earn open heaven pills. Only then did he realize why Fong Tai could invite everyone to drink tea. The 30 open heaven pills he had were more than enough to buy a set of worm-catching tools. Given that Dieu spent only 30 pills to purchase a wooden box and 2 boxes of incense previously. Fong Tai pressed on. If there was no cost involved, this Fong wouldn't take a share of your benefits, but the well-refined incenses have to be bought from this shopping district. Therefore, if you really are rewarded by the ruler of the Dawn Great General, it's not too much for this Fong to share half of it. Everyone nodded, including Yang Kai. As Dieu mentioned before, the newcomers usually had no tools and they had to ask someone for help in order to catch worms. But if so, the jade fire silkworm they collected would belong to the loner, and if there was a reward, the borrower could not keep any of his own share at all. As such, it was a fair deal as Fong Tai just asked for half of the reward. After all, he needed to recoup his costs at least. Fong Tai looked at Yang Kai and carried on. If Brother Yang agrees, you can ask me for help by then. As long as this Fong is free, he will not refuse. Yang Kai did not reveal that he did not need help, because that would mislead the others to think that he was living off a woman if he told them Dieu had bought him a set of tools. Moreover, Yang Kai also planned to return Dieu the open heaven pills once he earned enough in the future. Therefore, he just smiled and said, then this Yang will offer his thanks in advance. If I really need Brother Fong's assistance in the future, I will inform him. However, my plot of land is very small with only a few fruit trees, so I might not need to catch worms. Fong Tai responded, just come to me if you ever need to. Let's share a method of contacting each other later so that it will be easier for us to find each other. Although the pot of tea was finished, the waiter in the tea house did not rush them to leave but allowed them to occupy the table to further discuss the matter of their alliance. Everyone became closer to each other during this chat, and they exchanged the information they had collected over the past month, making it a fruitful gathering for everyone. Yang Kai vaguely felt that Fong Tai was making the call and everything, but he could not blame him for this as he was the most successful one among these few newcomers here. Now that everyone wanted something from him, they had to show him some respect. Fong Tai also requested the waiter to refill a pot of water for them, but it was free. The few of them continued to drink and chit-chat and did not disperse until half a day later. Fong Tai and the others wanted to continue strolling in the shopping district, but Xianxia did not join them and instead soared directly into the sky and rushed towards Fire Spirit Land.
The distance from here to Fire Spirit Land was not too far, so he did not have to worry about getting lost as he still remembered the way. Now that he was in the Seven Wonders Land, Xianxia naturally could not waste this opportunity.
Xianxia plotted to spend 50 years here at most to get the open heaven pill recipe.
If he failed, he would find a way to leave this place. After all, he still needed to find information about the world tree to save the star boundary, so he could not stay as a worker in this place and take care of the fruit trees forever.
Xianxia left the universe world fragment where the shopping district was located easily and began flying back to his house. After flying for a while, a vicious aura suddenly locked onto him, followed by a golden light shooting at him from a distance.
Inside the golden light, a burly figure could be seen vaguely. Before it arrived, a huge axe was swung at Xianxia's head, accompanied by a fierce shout. "I was still worrying that you wouldn't come out."
"Luckily, I didn't waste my time waiting for you." Xianxia narrowed his eyes, wondering who dared to fight him here. Moreover, it was an ambush. Subconsciously, he raised his palms and pushed them forward. Time principles flared as the time flies seal shot out.
The golden light dispersed, revealing a figure as burly as a bear, while the power of Xianxia's palm strike was also dispelled. The two were repelled a few thousand meters back from the explosion before they could stabilize their figures. The bear blinked before commenting in amazement. "Not bad, little brat. You're able to withstand my axe. What are you doing?" Xianxia's face darkened, feeling a light headache.
He understood why the bear was waiting for him here, but he did not expect that even if he tried not to leave together with Dau and acted like a stranger to her, this man would still cause him trouble. It was incredibly puerile.
The bear grinned hideously, revealing a mouthful of pristine fangs as he pointed his axe at Xianxia as he roared. "Little brat, what's your relationship with Xianxia? Be honest, or father here will kill you, as I thought."
Xianxia sighed in his heart but replied surprisingly, "Do you mean Sister Dau?" "Nonsense." The bear glared. "Who else can it be other than her? Why did you come to the shopping district with her? My friend, is this perhaps a misunderstanding? I have only known Sister Dau for less than a month. What relationship could I possibly have with her? If there's no relationship between the two of you, why would she come to this shopping district with you?"
"Father here has never seen her having any other companion before." "Wait, did you say you've only known Xianxia for a month?" The bear suddenly frowned at Xianxia, seeming to have recalled something. "Are you one of the newcomers who arrived a month ago?" Xianxia nodded and confirmed, "Yes." The bear patted his head and guffawed loudly. "No wonder you don't look familiar. So you're a newcomer." The laugh stopped abruptly, and he growled savagely. "How dare a newcomer hit on father's woman? Are you tired of living?" Flabbergasted, Xianxia defended himself. "Is this a misunderstanding, my friend? I'm not close to Sister Dau.
It's just because I'm a newcomer and I'm not familiar with this shopping district that she kindly brought me here to explore the place. That's all." The bear glared at Xianxia with his copperbell eyes, the big axe in front of him threatening to swing down at any time.
"What else can it be?" "Humph." Hot air puffed out of the bear's nostrils as he looked Xianxia up and down carefully for a long time before speaking. "Seems you're not stupid after all. Little brat, remember this, Xianxia is my woman. If you dare to hit on her, father here will make you regret ever being born." He rubbed his chin again, and a look of disdain surfaced on his face. "But then again, Xianxia probably wouldn't be interested in you. If she has no interest in me,
it's even less likely she'd be interested in you." Xianxia was tongue-tied, wondering where this bear got his sense of superiority from, but he still replied politely, "This friend is right. Xianxia is indeed naturally beautiful and has a kind heart. Only someone like you, my friend. A man with a heroic spirit is compatible with her." The bear's vicious expression was immediately replaced by glee, and his gaze became a lot more cordial. Nodding continuously, he boasted, "That's right, in the entire Fire Spirit Land, no, the entire Seven Wonders Land, the only man who is worthy of Xianxia is me."
"Who else has this qualification?" "Little brat, you have a good eye."
"What's your name?" Xianxia cupped his fists. "This little brother is Xianxia." The bear nodded. "I'll remember your name. It's rare to see a newcomer with such sharp insight. From now on, you can follow me.
If someone bullies you in Fire Spirit Land, just say my name." Pointing his thumb at himself, He continued proudly, "Remember, father's name is Xiangyong. Brother Xiang, this name is indeed majestic and domineering."
Little brother can't help but admire this name. Save your flattery, Xiangyong said, though the smugness of his face could not be concealed. Is brother Xiang also from Fire Spirit Land? Yang Kai was a little puzzled. Yes.
What's so strange about that? No, little brother was just a little curious, wondering why he hadn't met such an imposing and noble man like brother Xiang earlier. It's not too late to meet now. Yes.
There's nothing to regret in this lifetime to have met someone like brother Xiang today. Yang Kai cleared his throat lightly and looked at him. Since the misunderstanding is resolved, can this little brother go back now? And go. Yang Kai dismissed himself and brushed past Xiangyong. Wait. Xiangyong suddenly flickered next to him and cut off Yang Kai's path with his axe again. His eyes narrowed. If Xiaodia asks, brother Xiang and I bonded with each other like old friends the moment we met.
And brother Xiang took care of me in every possible way. Yang Kai did not even need to think before replying. Xiangyong grinned happily. You're quite good.
Father here appreciates you.
Good. Go back. Bidding farewell to Xiangyong, Yang Kai flew back to Fire Spirit Land, to the village where the workers' room was located, took out his token to open his house, entered, and was just about to sit down when there was a knock outside the door.
It was Dieu, who scanned him from top to bottom with her eyes the moment he opened the door and asked, "Are you all right?" "Yes."
What could have happened to me? Yang Kai blinked confusedly. Good then. Someone told me just now that Xiangyong left the workers' room. I was going to take a look, but I saw you come back first. Xiangyong? Who is Xiangyong? He's that guy who followed me around today. The one who looks like a bear, Dieu said, laughing at her own description. Oh. Yang Kai nodded, looking surprised. So his name is Xiangyong.
But what does he have to do with me and you leaving the workers' room? It's best if it has nothing to do with you. Dieu simply replied.
She then took out 2 items. Oh right. I bought this for you today, but I forgot to give it to you. It was the cyan wood box, and 2 boxes of well-refined incense. Yang Kai took it and thanked her. Once I've saved enough open heaven pills, I'll pay you back with interest. No hurry. Dieu laughed. Have a good rest, I'll go back now. She started yawning as she spoke, and her typical weary expression appeared again. Take care. Yang Kai nodded. After Dieu left, Yang Kai shut the door and took a good look at the cyan wood box and the well-refined incense. He had borrowed such items from Old Fong before for worm catching, so he was not unfamiliar with it. 2 boxes of well-refined incense contained 10 sticks of the incense, which were enough to last him 1 to 2 years, so for the time being, it did not matter even if he did not have any open heaven pills. Just after putting away the box and incense, there was another knock on the door. Yang Kai felt strange, wondering who came to look for him again. He thought maybe Dieu had forgotten to tell him something again. However, when he opened the door, he was immediately blinded by a golden light. At the door, a golden rooster half a person tall stood dignifiedly with his head high and chest puffed out, just like a proud general patrolling his territory. The two looked at each other for a while, and then Yang Kai smiled. So it is Great General. Is there something I can do for Great General? I don't have any more jade fire silkworms. The ruler of the dawn, Great General, turned his head slowly aside, staring at Yang Kai with one eye. Yang Kai scratched his head, confused. After a while of glaring, the ruler of the dawn, Great General, turned and slowly stepped away, his fat buttocks swaying with every step as he walked off slowly. Yang Kai was bewildered and looked down at himself, wondering if there was something strange about him. By the time he looked up again, the ruler of the dawn, Great General, had disappeared. He shook his head speechless, shut the door tightly, and went to rest and adjust his breathing. For the next 2 days, nothing happened. Early in the morning of the 3rd day, the sound of the golden rooster announcing dawn resounded throughout the village, and Yang Kai was awakened suddenly. He listened carefully with a frown, vaguely feeling that the sound of the Great General's crow today was very much closer than normal. He got up and opened the door, and sure enough, the ruler of the dawn, Great General, was screeching and crowing directly at him. Do you have a grudge against me? Yang Kai was so tempted to ask. Ever since his arrival at the workers' room, this rooster had been picking on him.
Glaring at Great General, Xianxia closed the door behind him and flew into the sky. Streams of light shot into the sky from all over the village, rushing towards the orchard. In less than an hour, Xianxia arrived at his plot. First, he went to inspect every fruit tree on his site to make sure that they were all growing well and recorded the number of spirit fruits, making sure that none were missing. Only then did he begin to care for the trees in accordance with their needs. After half a day of work, Xianxia finished tending to his 30 fruit trees without much trouble. Since he had nothing to do now, he strode over to Old Fang's site leisurely with his hands behind his back. Old Fang was still busy. Due to the many fruit trees under his care, he had to work for a few days every time he came back here before he could stop to rest. After hanging out together for a month, the two of them could be considered acquaintances. Old Fang merely greeted him briefly before continuing with his work. Xianxia followed Old Fang, trying to engage him in conversation. At first, Old Fang entertained him, but it later became notably annoying. How could he be in the mood to chat with Xianxia when he had not finished his task? Xianxia, on the other hand, was acting as if he was the experienced one, giving advice and pointers on how to care for the trees, forgetting who was the one who taught him in the first place. If you're really that free, let's work together and finish early so we can play chess. Old Fang looked up at Xianxia, unable to endure it any longer. Xianxia turned to look around, silently calculated the amount of work and time Old Fang still needed, and then said, "Forget it, since you are busy, I'll come back to visit in a few days." After saying that, Xianxia walked off casually. "Ungrateful little wolf," Old Fang scolded through gritted teeth. Completely unsympathetic to this old man, Xianxia turned the back of his head to him, pretending not to hear. Xianxia returned to his plot and soon grew bored as he could not cultivate in this environment. There really was nothing to do, but he soon remembered that this was a plot where trees had died. He had examined the place before and found no problems, but maybe this time he might get a clue. Immediately taking out his control token, Xianxia concentrated on investigating his land, but in the end, he found nothing. Putting away the token, Xianxia rubbed his chin, really befuddled with what went wrong with this damned place. Why would 3 perfectly healthy trees die all of a sudden? Inadvertently, he remembered Dia you had mentioned before in the shopping district that since he had already condensed his wood element, he could use it to nourish his fire spirit fruit trees. If he could not discover the problem with this piece of land, he could at least use his wood element to nourish his trees, hopefully staving off any issues in advance. After all, if anything did happen in the future, he would have to take responsibility for it. Finally finding something to do, Xianxia happily came to the center of his plot and immersed himself in his mind. His fingers formed a seal a moment later as he urged the power in his Dao seal. With Xianxia as the center, a wave of energy spread out in all directions. If one looked closely, the wave of energy had a faint emerald green color to it and was filled with rich vitality. Unsure of how his wood element would affect the fruit trees, Xianxia only tried his hands slightly, not daring to take drastic measures. His little attempt did not worry him at first, but Xianxia jumped abruptly a moment after he began because his small plot suddenly rumbled noisily. He stopped immediately and stretched his neck to look around. There were no changes in the fruit trees, but subtle movements were rustling from the corner of the orchard. Xianxia walked over and stopped in front of the 3 seedlings. At this moment, the soil around the roots of the 3 seedlings was undulating. The seedlings seemed to be growing, their developing roots causing the soil to roll and lurch. After staring at the 3 seedlings for 2 hours, Xianxia found that they had truly grown taller. Although it was not even a finger's length, it was enough to attract attention. Is it because of the immortal tree? Previously, Xianxia had merged with the immortal tree in order to bring him back to life. Then, he condensed its wood element into his Dao seal. In this way, the ability of resurrection was lost. However, his Dao seal gained a supreme wood element which would be of great help in his future cultivation. As such, when he surged the wood element in his Dao seal, it was equivalent to triggering the power of the immortal tree, so it was possible to promote the growth of the seedlings in just 2 hours. This was an amazing feat. According to Old Fang, it took at least 200 to 300 years for the fire spirit fruit tree to grow from a seedling to maturity, and only a fully grown fruit tree could blossom and bear fruit. The 3 seedlings have been planted for less than 10 years, and only grew slightly every year. However, if someone found out that they suddenly grew a finger's length overnight,
Yang Kai might draw trouble to himself. Nevertheless, what was done was done. Yang Kai could not reverse their growth anyway, so he silently decided to pay extra attention to the 3 seedlings if he was going to do something similar again, so as to prevent them from being affected by his wood element.
Moreover, an additional finger's length should not be noticed unless someone paid particularly close attention to them. This was his plot of land after all, and no one would come to check on them for no reason. Therefore, for the time being, his situation should still be safe. In fact, if it was possible, Yang Kai would like to release the 2 wood spirits, Mu Zhu and Mu Lu, to take care of the orchard. The wood spirit clan was unrivaled when it came to this kind of job. With their care, Yang Kai could act as the arm-flinging shopkeeper he always was. But it was inconvenient to do so. Not to mention that the orchard was accessible in all directions and people would pass by from time to time. Zhou Zheng would come to inspect occasionally too, as well as the chief manager who had yet to appear. If someone saw his 2 wood spirits, Yang Kai was afraid that he could not protect them with his current ability. As such, it was just a passing thought, along with the thought of moving some fire spirit fruit trees into his medicine garden so that the 2 wood spirits could take care of them inside. Squatting in front of the 3 seedlings, Yang Kai observed carefully for some time to make sure that the finger-length height change would not attract anyone's attention. Only then did he feel a little relieved. Before he could get up, however, he heard the sound of wings flapping as well as a familiar aura approaching him. Yang Kai turned around and almost laughed at the sight. About 100 meters above the ground, a golden rooster was flying unsteadily, trying notably hard to flap its wings. Not knowing whether it was bad at flying or just because it was too plump, Ruler of the Dawn Great General swayed up and down, and it looked as though it might fall at any time. However, at this moment, the Ruler of the Dawn Great General was not as big as before. In fact, he even looked smaller than a normal rooster. He obviously used some secret technique to shrink himself. After all, he was not a real chicken. Since he was the pet of the Venerable Protector, Great General must have some abilities of his own. Moreover, according to Yang Kai's observation, Great General should possess some exotic bloodline, and it just so happened that he looked like a rooster. Therefore, it did not really have much to do with the breed of chicken, and it was not surprising for him to have a grasp of some secret techniques. Nevertheless, it was Yang Kai's first time seeing him flying, and the way he flew was quite amusing. The others in the orchard certainly noticed Great General too, and in an instant multiple streams of light shot towards him from the ground, causing Ruler of the Dawn Great General to be surrounded in the blink of an eye. All of them saluted and bowed to him, and some even took the initiative to offer up jade fire silkworms. Unfortunately for them, Great General ignored them and just flew ahead. Seemingly annoyed by their fencing, Ruler of the Dawn Great General cock-a-doodle-dooed and flapped his 2 fat wings vigorously, like he was shooing them away. Yang Kai was hugging his stomach by now, laughing hysterically as he enjoyed the scene above from below. As if his laughter caused a chain reaction, for some reason, the Ruler of the Dawn Great General, who was flying forward, suddenly stopped, faced downward, and plummeted straight towards the ground. No matter how hard he flapped his wings, he had no way to stop himself. Exclamations echoed, and everyone's face changed drastically. Yang Kai's face was as black as the bottom of a pot as his smile hung stiffly on his face. Why? Because the damn chicken was falling directly into his plot. Instantaneously, following a great squawk, Ruler of the Dawn Great General crashed headfirst into the ground 10 meters in front of Yang Kai, his plump hips and wings twitching lightly. Yang Kai was dumbstruck. Everything happened so fast that he failed to react. He could have moved to stop Ruler of the Dawn Great General, but he was so dumbfounded he just watched him crash face first into the dirt. Looking up at the sky, a group of people were staring at him, but in the next moment, as if they had all agreed beforehand, they scattered, turning into streams of light and returning to their respective sites, hiding away. The originally bustling sky suddenly fell silent. Yang Kai opened his mouth and cursed angrily, then turned around and wanted to leave as well, but this was his plot. The others had places to hide, but where could he go? This is bad. Although he did not do anything to the Ruler of the Dawn Great General, if something happened to the stupid chicken in his own territory, Yang Kai could guarantee that he would not see the sun rise tomorrow. It might not just be him, as the people who had gathered around Great General earlier would not be able to escape punishment either. Standing with a gloomy face,
Yang Kai watched the stupid chicken twitch its wings while his face twitched too.
Since this golden rooster possesses a special bloodline, he should be strong and would not have suffered badly from such a fall, right? Yang Kai comforted himself, went forward, and squatted in front of ruler of the Dawn Great General, poking him with his finger.
Great General's wings trembled even more violently, prompting Yang Kai to reach out and yank him out of the ground. As soon as Great General was extricated from trouble, he flapped his wings violently, his beak transforming into a series of shadows that advanced towards Yang Kai. Yang Kai instinctively slammed his palm forward. Followed by a sorrowful crow, Great General was sent flying as several of his feathers fell off. "Are you crazy? Why did you peck me? It wasn't me who brought you down," Yang Kai retorted angrily. Great General's eyes widened, as if he could not believe what just happened. He did not seem to expect that someone would dare to lay a hand on him in this fire spirit land.
Soon after, when he saw the several feathers falling from the sky, Great General was instantly enraged. He leapt a meter high off the ground and his chubby body radiated a dazzling golden light as he shot towards Yang Kai. Initially, Yang Kai felt a little guilty for hitting him out of instinct earlier, but now that he saw Great General was still acting stubborn, his heart burned with anger and he cared no more. He immediately went forward to face Great General, surging his power in every palm strike, hitting the ruler of the Dawn Great General until he squawked crazily. Old Fang, who was not far away, was alarmed by the commotion. He did not know what the situation was and hurriedly came to investigate, but his face turned pale as soon as he saw the scene and he immediately retreated, not daring to come back again. In the orchard, two figures, one big and one small, crisscrossed back and forth as golden feathers flew about.
Yang Kai had to admit that, although the ruler of the Dawn Great General looked silly, he was quite strong, on par with any pseudo-great emperor back in the star boundary, and Yang Kai could feel that he had not given his all yet.
It was impossible that the pet of the venerable protector only knew the two skills, which were just pecking and scratching. Clearly, Great General did not plan on using any secret technique in their altercation. Since Great General held back, Yang Kai responded in kind. He could easily stop the silly chicken from getting close just by using his two fists anyway. After 2 hours of fighting, Great General was probably exhausted and the golden feathers all over its body had grown dim. Spreading his wings open, he glared at Yang Kai fiercely but dared not to approach anymore. Yang Kai lifted his chin at him defiantly and announced proudly, "This king has traveled the heavens and earth for many years. How dare a trivial chicken challenge this king?
You're overreaching." The ruler of the Dawn Great General was obviously maddened as he hopped up and down several times. Yang Kai could feel that his opponent was being humiliated and unwilling to submit in defeat, and he could not help guffawing. "Get out of here now if you're wise. If you dare to come at me again, don't blame this king for being ruthless." While speaking, he waved his big fist in front of the Great General. Ruler of the Dawn Great General stared at him coldly before suddenly. His eyes flashed and he charged to the side. Yang Kai frowned slightly as he wondered what this stupid chicken was up to now. But in the next moment, his face changed drastically and he roared, "You dare?" With a flicker, he appeared in front of Great General and launched a palm strike. However, ruler of the Dawn Great General was prepared for this and leapt backwards, landing directly on a fruit tree and extending his neck to peck a scarlet fire spirit fruit. Yang Kai was infuriated. This damn chicken could not beat him in a fair fight, so he decided to deal with him through underhanded means, showing how vicious he could be. There were several fruits nearby, and each one was counted and recorded meticulously.
If any of these fruits were damaged by Great General, Yang Kai would not be able to explain to Zhou Zheng at all. By that time, instead of the stupid chicken, he was the one who would be punished. Ignoring the barriers of space, Yang Kai reached out his hand and grabbed ruler of the Dawn Great General by the neck before drawing him in front of him. Yang Kai glared at him furiously and said coldly, "Do you want to die?" The ruler of the Dawn Great General stared into his eyes fearlessly, his gaze still wandering between Yang Kai and the fruit tree. Its answer was truly obvious. It was daring Yang Kai to kill him, otherwise he would destroy his fruits. Yang Kai was speechless. Although he had a fight with the stupid chicken, he actually did not really dare to harm him. After all, Great General was the pet of the venerable protector. If he killed him, Yang Kai would suffer dire consequences. But holding on to Great General all the time was not a solution.
After pondering for a while, Xianxia decided to take a step back. I won't argue with you about this anymore. It's none of my business that you fell down, but rather due to your own carelessness. If you want to find someone to blame, you can blame those guys who boxed you in. I'll let you go now, so please just leave. Let's just forget this incident and pretend nothing happened just now. If you agree with me, blink once. The ruler of the Dawn Great General blinked. Xianxia nodded. Don't try to play tricks with me. Xianxia released his grip slowly, but as soon as the ruler of the Dawn Great General was out of his grasp, he charged straight to the closest fruit tree. Xianxia grabbed it back and chuckled gloomily. It seems that you really don't know how to write the word death. After wrestling back and forth for a long time, the situation turned into a stalemate. As soon as Xianxia let go, the ruler of the Dawn Great General would rush towards the fruit tree as if he was going to peck at the fruits, which irritated Xianxia to no end. The chicken was also quite devious. Every time Xianxia was grabbing him by the neck to negotiate, he would agree and comply, but would go back on his word in a blink of an eye. He had no credibility at all. Then again, Xianxia felt a little sad and pathetic for arguing about credibility with a chicken. Anger swelled up in him, and Xianxia thought that if not because of the many people witnessing the stupid chicken plummeting into his territory, he would have thrown Great General into the small sealed world and eliminated him once and for all. Since he could not use force, he could only use another approach. So Xianxia gritted his teeth and declared, "This king admits his punishment is deserved. So why don't you come up with a solution to resolve this issue? But let me warn you, don't cross the line. At most we will just die together. If this king must perish, he will make sure you never see another sunrise." The ruler of the Dawn Great General's eyes quivered, and it crowed twice, indicating that it clearly understood. But unfortunately, he could not speak, so there was no way to communicate with Xianxia directly. Xianxia stared at him for a while, and then slowly released the big hand that was gripping Great General's neck. This time, the ruler of the Dawn Great General did not fling himself to the fruit tree but stood there combing his feathers with its beak a little, spread its wings and shook its head, then glared at Xianxia with one eye while it circled around him. Xianxia's eyes followed it closely, remaining vigilant. After circling Xianxia several times, the ruler of the Dawn Great General ruffled his wings again before he leapt lightly from the ground. Xianxia almost thought he was going to go back on their agreement again, but he immediately felt his head sink a little, and his face went as black as the bottom of a pot. This damn chicken had jumped on his head, turning it into a chicken coop. How could this be tolerated? Xianxia reached out to grab at him as he roared, "Get off!" The ruler of the Dawn Great General was caught, but his two claws were tightly clasped onto Xianxia's hair and would not let go. Xianxia struggled with him for a while but did not manage to separate them. Instead, his hair was disheveled and his scalp hurt. Xianxia was speechless. Ruler of the Dawn Great General squawked with glee as he swiveled his fat buttocks to find a comfortable position on top of Xianxia's head. Not only that, he even gently combed Xianxia's tousled hair with his beak. "Fine. You win." Xianxia could not be angrier, but on second thought, apart from the fact that it was unsightly, he had nothing to lose, so he figured he might as well just let things be. As long as the matter today was resolved, this little effort was nothing. Thinking this way, Xianxia decided not to continue the argument. He felt quite pathetic thinking about how he and a stupid chicken were fighting with all their wits and courage for such a long time. Xianxia then walked over to put away the feathers that fell off from ruler of the Dawn Great General. They were all criminal evidence, so if Zhou Zhang came over and saw it, he might use it as an excuse to pick on him. "You may stay there, but don't you touch any of my fruits, or I'll beat you up," Xianxia warned anxiously, leaning back on a fruit tree. The ruler of the Dawn Great General ignored him. The human and chicken managed to quiet down for now. But it did not take long before the Great General began to crow again softly a few times, while its claws clenched slightly. "What?" Xianxia asked impatiently, waking up from his meditation. The ruler of the Dawn Great General flapped his wings, his claws still clinging tightly to Xianxia's hair, pulling him in one direction. Xianxia frowned, guessing that Great General wanted him to go somewhere, so he stood up, followed the direction he directed, and stopped in front of a fruit tree before the ruler of the Dawn Great General released his claws. Immediately, it gently pecked at a hole in the tree trunk endlessly like a woodpecker.
Yang Kai immediately laughed. Are you hungry?
You can't eat it. Although there are jade fire silkworms on that fruit tree, Old Fong said it cannot be taken away. Great General immediately became disgruntled and began to crow loudly. The intense workout he had with Yang Kai earlier probably made him hungry. I told you, you can't eat it.
It's useless no matter how you crow. Yang Kai remained unmoved. He was kind enough to let this chicken sit on his head, so it would be unreasonable to let him eat his worms too. Great General was silent for a few breaths, then flapped its wings and dragged Yang Kai in another direction. Stop grabbing me, I can go by myself. Damn it, don't you know that it hurts? Yang Kai scolded and walked in the direction Great General was pulling, curious to see what he was going to do. After a short walk, they came to the neighboring plot.
There were no strict boundaries in the orchard, but everyone knew which fruit trees belonged to them, so no one got confused. As soon as they arrived, Yang Kai was greeted by a young man with cupped fists. Brother Yang! The corners of Yang Kai's mouth twitched, and he cupped his fists in return. Brother Hong? After working here for a month, Yang Kai did not just make friends with Old Fong. His surrounding neighbors were not located too far away, and they all greeted each other at least once. It was just that Yang Kai was only close to Old Fong. The person before him, Hong Yu, was one of his neighbors, and Yang Kai could not help feeling a little embarrassed that he was seen with a chicken using his head as a chicken coop. Why did Brother Yang come here? Hong Yu asked, glancing at the ruler of the Dawn Great General with a guilty conscience as he spoke. He was one of the witnesses who surrounded the Great General earlier. Yang Kai did not know what to say, but Yang Kai looked at the hole in the fruit tree and immediately understood what he wanted, cursing lightly under his breath. This stupid chicken was ordering him around like a coolie, but at this point there was nothing he could do. Turning back to face Hong Yu, he started, Brother Hong, Great General has worked hard and is a little hungry. You know the situation of my orchard and how there's nothing to eat there, so we came to you to ask for something. Hearing this, Hong Yu's face turned a little embarrassed. To be honest, Brother Yang, I caught some worms here just last month, so it will take another 10 days at the earliest to catch another. There are really no extra worms for Great General. Perhaps you should take Great General elsewhere. Yang Kai's face sank when he heard the words. Brother Hong, the reason why Great General is hungry is that he was hurt when he fell from the sky. We don't know if any of his muscles or bones were injured, but a lot of his glorious feathers have fallen off. Look at how beautiful this feather is. It would be a pity if too many were lost. If Venerable finds out that Great General suffered injuries while inspecting the orchard and did not get any food when he was hungry, we don't know how Venerable will respond. This is not something you or I can take on. The blood drained from Hong Yu's face, and he did not dare to look at the golden feather in Yang Kai's hand at all, mainly because he felt guilty. He then hesitated for a while before gritting his teeth. Brother Yang is right. Great General must be tired from his inspection, and we should be considerate. Brother Yang may do as he pleases. Just take it as this Hong acting to compensate Great General. Cock-a-doodle-doo, Yang Kai grinned, pointing at his head. Great General is quite pleased with you. Hong Yu squeezed out a smile and reached out to signal Yang Kai to proceed. There was no need for Yang Kai to be polite after that. He took out a well-refined incense, lit it, and held it in front of the hole, moving it back and forth gently. The movements were smooth and familiar as it was not his first time to do this. After a while, a fiery red worm wriggled out of the hole. The ruler of the Dawn Great General stretched out its neck and caught hold of the jade fire silkworm, swallowing it whole. This time, there was no need for the ruler of the Dawn Great General to urge him. Yang Kai had already moved toward another fire spirit fruit tree with a wormhole, and did the same, coaxing out a jade fire silkworm. Hong Yu watched anxiously from the side. 2 jade fire silkworms were not a big deal, though it may affect the growth of the fruit trees slightly. It should not be a big issue. What was a pity was that if he was the one who caught the worms and brought them back to Great General, he would have a chance to obtain an open heaven pill. Now, it was hopeless to expect any open heaven pills, but Hong Yu was thankful that Great General did not hold a grudge against him. After harvesting 3 jade fire silkworms in Hong Yu's orchard, and seeing the caretaker here turning blue in the face, Yang Kai finally grinned. Good, we're done here. Brother Hong, please continue your work. We're leaving. As soon as Yang Kai finished speaking, A strange noise emitted from the top of his head, followed by a bundle of golden light falling in front of him. The golden light looked familiar, and Xianxia reached out to catch it. When the golden light dissipated, what appeared on his palm were 3 perfectly spherical spirit pills. Xianxia blinked, a little baffled. Hong Yu's eyes also widened, just as astonished. But this pause only lasted a moment before Xianxia quickly flipped his hand and put away the 3 open heaven pills. Hong Yu exclaimed hurriedly, "Brother Yang, those 3 open heaven pills." Xianxia looked at him with a sullen face. "What 3 open heaven pills?
How can there be any open heaven pills here?" Hong Yu did not know whether to laugh or cry. "Brother Yang, how can you sleep talk with your eyes wide open? Great General clearly rewarded 3 open heaven pills just now." Brother Yang, Great General's reward was all thanks to my 3 worms. Shouldn't you give me some? This Hong is not greedy, you can take 2, I only want 1. Xianxia just snickered. "You want a share of the pills?" "Sure. I'll report to Manager Zhou that you and a group of people harassed Great General, causing Great General to fall from the sky and lose many feathers and suffer such deep wounds to his body that he couldn't even walk and could only sit on my head. Then we'll see what Manager Zhou will reward you all with." Hong Yu exclaimed, "That's so exaggerated. How can you make such irresponsible remarks?" Xianxia continued, "Manager Zhou would be able to tell if I made irresponsible remarks or not." Hong Yu gaped at him for a while before gritting his teeth and declaring, "This Hong has learned today of Brother Yang's honorable character. He was also at fault for this matter. Regardless of what happened, he was partly responsible for Great General's fall. And if Manager Zhou caught hold of this news, he would not have a good end." Xianxia asked, "Does Brother Hong still need a spirit pill?" "Leave." Hong Yu pointed aside. 3 easy open heaven pills. Xianxia felt like he was in a dream. He knew that the newcomers would only be rewarded when they honored Great General for the first time, but the reward was only 1 spirit pill. A few days ago, Xianxia fed 5 jade fire silkworms and only got 1 open heaven pill. But today he obtained 3 pills with only 3 jade fire silkworms. That was an entire year of a worker's salary. Perhaps no one would believe it even if he told anyone about it. You mentioned that if Great General was in a good mood, he would reward open heaven pills. In other words, the Great General in a good mood now. Xianxia looked up while thinking. He was unsure, but the resentment that he gained earlier had dissipated significantly. If the silly chicken continued giving him open heaven pills, not to mention letting it use his head as a chicken coop, Xianxia would invite Great General to live with him permanently. "Great General, do you want to eat more?" Xianxia's mood was lifted and his tone was very cordial. Great General did not respond, but did not say no. Xianxia took this as a sign and nodded happily. "In that case, let's go and look for more. Heh. He grinned while walking towards another plot. Previously, the ruler of the Dawn Great General was chased and intercepted by a large group of people, all of whom ran away at once when he fell into Xianxia's territory. In a sense, all those people were responsible for this incident. If any misfortune happened to the ruler of the Dawn Great General, Xianxia would have been the innocent sacrificial lamb. Therefore, Xianxia would not let any of them escape trouble by hiding themselves. Even if the ruler of the Dawn Great General chose to forgive them, Xianxia would not. Soon, Xianxia came to another plot. Seeing Xianxia approaching with the Great General from a distance, the worker responsible for this plot immediately hid, afraid that Great General would bring him trouble. "Hide. Hide if you want." Xianxia did not even pay any attention to this worker, and instead took the ruler of the Dawn Great General around to look for worms. After extracting 3 worms, Xianxia and Great General strode off. During the whole time, the worker did not dare to show himself. To Xianxia's great surprise, after eating the 3 jade fire silkworms, Great General rewarded him with 3 open heaven pills again. Xianxia could not understand why the ruler of the Dawn Great General was acting like this so suddenly. When he fought with Xianxia before, he seemed eager to kill him, but now Great General was being incredibly generous to him. Despite not understanding why, Xianxia had no reason to reject this generosity. 1 human and 1 chicken moved from plot to plot in the orchard. Some owners were bitter like Hong Yu, but they could only grit their teeth and let Xianxia take the worms from their trees, while some workers were like the one who dared not reveal himself. Either way,
They could not escape from the fate of being ripped off 3 jade fire silkworms, while Xianxia did not care if their fruit trees were negatively affected at all. However, after visiting 4 plots, Great General seemed to be satiated. He gave a cock-a-doodle-doo, clenching its claws slightly to navigate Xianxia in another direction. Xianxia was far from done, but since the ruler of the Dawn Great General was already full, he could not force him. In any case, since Xianxia had started this matter, he would naturally see it through to the end. Taking ruler of the Dawn Great General back to his plot, Xianxia sat down under a fruit tree, took out the 12 open heaven pills, and played with them carefully, all while cackling like a crazy man. A few days ago, his one and only open heaven pill was instantly snatched by Old Fong. Now that he suddenly obtained 12 pills at once, Xianxia no longer considered the chicken that sat on top of his head an annoying enemy, but rather a god of fortune. The ruler of the Dawn Great General was not so terrible after all. Xianxia suddenly changed his impression of the Great General. He obtained 12 pills in a day, which meant that he would be getting 360 pills in a month, and more than 4,000 pills in a year. However, when he thought more about it, he knew that was impossible. Xianxia had no idea how many open heaven pills Great General had, but there must be a limit as they were given to him by the Venerable. In any case, in this way, Xianxia's situation suddenly became much better than that of other workers. The salary of 3 open heaven pills per year was simply a bonus to him now. After earning enough open heaven pills, Xianxia could return what he owed Dieu, and even invite her to the shopping district to have a pot of good tea as a thank you gift. Having made up his mind, Xianxia began studying the medicinal properties of an open heaven pill carefully while storing the rest away. He was an alchemist coveting for the open heaven pill recipe of 7 Wonders Land, but although he had not seen the pill recipe yet, Xianxia still could carry out his own research. His research consumed the whole day, but he did not come up with anything useful. Xianxia only knew that the refining of this open heaven pill required 7 main ingredients, including the fire spirit fruit and the spirit fruits of other elements. However, in addition to these 7 main herbs, there must be other auxiliary ingredients. He was still new in the outer universe and was unfamiliar with the pharmacology here, so actually he could not distinguish the other raw materials in the open heaven pill. Xianxia noted down what he had learned silently so that if he ever encountered those herbs in the future, he would be able to recognize them. Ruler of the Dawn Great General did not move for more than a day, seemingly sleeping after filling his stomach. It was not until a day later that he suddenly shook its wings and blinded Xianxia's eyes with a familiar golden light. Seeing him wake up, Xianxia was excited at once and asked, "Is Great General hungry? Shall I take you to look for food?" Ruler of the Dawn Great General crowed twice approvingly. "Good, let's go." Xianxia got up and strode forward. There had been 30 to 40 people crowding Ruler of the Dawn Great General yesterday, and Xianxia only visited 4 yesterday. There were still many plots he had not patronized yet. He had to finish visiting all of them no matter what. The pair visited 5 plots that day, and by evening, Xianxia had more than 10 additional open heaven pills in his pockets. Under the fruit tree, Xianxia played with the spirit pills in his hand happily as he spoke. "Great General, I want to discuss something with you. If there is a reward again next time, can you give it to me when there is no one around? Did you see the eyes of those people before? They clearly couldn't wait to rush over to snatch these from me. If we continue acting openly like this, I'm afraid I'll become the public enemy of the entire workers' room." Xianxia couldn't tell whether Great General had fallen asleep or not, but the latter gave no response. Xianxia sighed for a while, feeling pain and happiness at the same time. Where did you get so many open heaven pills?" A cry of surprise called out from the side. Xianxia quickly put away his open heaven pills and looked up to see Old Fong gaping at him. "What do you mean, open heaven pills?" "You must have seen it wrongly." Xianxia blinked. "Are you done with your work?" "I'm done," Old Fong answered casually and then quickly responded, "Don't try to change the subject, smelly brat. Tell me the truth, where did you get so many?" Is the Great General still here?" Suddenly his face changed drastically and he retreated a few steps to keep a distance from Xianxia, asking suspiciously, "Did you rob Great General?" "How is that possible?" Xianxia sneered, "Do I look like such a worthless man? No one would rob a chicken." "Then tell me, where did your open heaven pills come from?" Old Fong obviously did not believe it. "None of your damn business."
Old Fong looked up and down at him, then turned around and left. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? Yang Kai was unhappy, and with a flicker, blocked his path. Old Fong explained with a dark face, Boy, I'm afraid you're going to face a tremendous disaster, yet you're still relaxing here. Don't tell anyone that you know me in the future. I don't want to get into trouble because of you. Old Fong. Yang Kai patted him on the shoulder. Are you thinking too much? I hope so too. Anyway, you should take care of yourself. Old Fong waved his hand to shoo him away. Look how afraid you are. Yang Kai laughed. By the way, do you have any extra well-refined incense on hand? Share some with me. Didn't Sister Jieyu just buy you 2 boxes? Old Fong looked at him suspiciously. Yes or no? Yang Kai stretched out his hand. Normally, 2 boxes of well-refined incense were enough for 1 or 2 years. However, with the speed of his consumption, Yang Kai was afraid that it would not take long to run out, so he wanted some to spare from Old Fong. Old Fong answered, Good, this old master can give you a box, but under a condition. Say it. Don't look for this old master again in the future. This old master never knew you. You said it yourself. Don't regret it later. Without saying a word, Old Fong took out a box of well-refined incense and slammed it into Yang Kai's palm before quickly leaving, muttering under his breath. A great disaster is coming. A great disaster indeed, young man. Yang Kai did not bother to pay him any attention. With a box of free well-refined incense, Yang Kai estimated that it would be enough for this month, so he turned around and continued to rest. In the following days, Yang Kai kept himself busy. After taking care of his fruit trees, Yang Kai would lead the ruler of the Dawn Great General around in the orchard, catching several worms every time they reached a site. The workers were infuriated, but they all held their tongues. They had no choice, for the ruler of the Dawn Great General sat proudly atop Yang Kai's head. No one dared to refuse. They felt like their hearts had been ripped out as they watched Yang Kai bait the worms and feed them to the ruler of the Dawn Great General. These worms could be their open heaven pills. Fortunately, Yang Kai did not act ruthlessly and take all of their worms, so the workers did not make a big fuss out of it. Since Yang Kai's request that day, Great General did not reward him with the open heaven pills in public again. Every time, he would spit out the bundle of golden light after they returned to Yang Kai's own plot, which contained more or less 10 open heaven pills, the same number of worms he ate. Yang Kai did not understand. As Jieyu mentioned before, ruler of the Dawn Great General would give open heaven pills to the feeders only when he was in a good mood, and most of the time he did not. But when it came to Yang Kai, it was basically a ratio of 1 to 1. Yang Kai was flabbergasted. If others experienced the same thing as he did, the workers would not need to worry about open heaven pills at all. Yang Kai even began to wonder how many jade fire silkworms they had fed the ruler of the Dawn Great General over the years. Moreover, no worker had ever been treated like this by ruler of the Dawn Great General. For a whole month, he took Yang Kai's head as a chicken coop, not leaving even once. A month later, the barrier of the orchard was activated, and all the workers were moved outside. In an instant, countless eyes focused on Yang Kai, but he could not blame them as the golden rooster on his head was simply too eye-catching. Many of them found it funny, wondering how Yang Kai had provoked the ruler of the Dawn Great General to receive such treatment. Yang Kai did not pay them any attention. The others may see it as a joke, but he knew that he was wearing the God of Fortune on top of his head. He looked up and saw a few familiar figures. They were the newcomers who came in together with Yang Kai. They were about to greet him but were hurriedly led away by Fong Tai. Sun was the only one who looked back as she walked away, a worried look on her face. Yang Kai scratched his head. Why were these people acting like he was a plague? He turned to look at old Fong, who sighed heavily. Shaking his head slowly, he left looking distressed. Yang Kai sneered, ignoring the strange gazes of others, and headed towards the workers' room with a flicker. Soon after, he landed in front of his own residence, and ruler of the Dawn Great General, who had been perched on his head, spread his wings, plopped down on the ground, and slowly walked off with his head held high and chest puffed up like a true lord of his territory. Yang Kai immediately felt a lot more relaxed.
Although the ruler of the Dawn Great General had given him a lot of open heaven pills the past month, it was quite exhausting to carry a rooster on his head this whole time. Even his hair was completely disheveled, but now the chicken was finally gone. He turned around and entered the house to quickly straighten his hair, and just after he was done, he heard a knock at the door. Yang Kai walked over to open the door, and a graceful figure flashed in, followed by a waft of fragrance. Xiao Die. Yang Kai looked at the guest. You came just in time.
I was about to look for you. Were you looking for me? Die, you asked. Let's leave that aside for now. What happened to you?
What do you mean, what happened?
Yang Kai was stunned. There were rumors in the village that you offended the Great General and were punished.
Many people saw a Great General sitting on your head and using your head as a chicken coop. Is that true? Yang Kai burst out laughing. There indeed is such a thing, but unlike the rumors were saying, I didn't offend that stupid chicken. Really? Dieu looked at him suspiciously. They had not known each other for a long time, and the time they spent together was even shorter. She did not know what kind of nature Yang Kai had, but he did not seem like one to bow his head. So she was really worried that he might have fearlessly provoked Great General.
Yang Kai looked at her with a smile. Xiao Die, you seem to care about me very much. Dieu snorted. I was once a newcomer too, and I know how difficult it could be. If someone helped me at the beginning, my situation would definitely be much better.
Later, I swore to myself that if there was a chance in the future and if it was within my abilities, I would help the newcomers. Besides, if any of the newcomers get promoted, I will be able to gain some benefits. So that's how it is. Yang Kai gently nodded. Dieu suddenly punched Yang Kai on the shoulder. Also, don't be so arrogant, you newcomer. Who gave you permission to call me Xiao Die? It doesn't matter what I call you. Yang Kai smiled, extended his hand, and flipped it over. Look at this! Dieu looked down before her hand flew up to cover her mouth. Where did you get so many open heaven pills? It was the same sentence blurted from Old Fong's mouth, but it sounded completely different. I'm paying you back. Yang Kai pushed his hand forward. Dieu looked at him suspiciously. How did you get so many open heaven pills? Yang Kai grinned. Would you believe it if I said that I was rewarded by Great General?
And even I wouldn't believe it, let alone you, but the fact is, these were indeed given to me by Great General. What happened? Dieu was shocked.
Yang Kai briefly reiterated the incident of how the Great General was surrounded by others and fell into his plot, and then how he brought him around to look for worms. Of course, Yang Kai omitted the part about his battle with Great General. It was simply too embarrassing to mention it. Dieu's small little mouth grew into a beautiful circle at the news that Yang Kai received a 1-to-1 ratio of worms fed to open heaven pills. He decided to disclose this information not just because he needed to explain the source of these open heaven pills clearly upon paying Dieu back, but also because she had helped him a lot.
She answered a lot of questions he had without demanding any payment, then later took him to the shopping district and even loaned him money to buy a set of worm-catching tools. She even showed genuine concern when she heard something happened to him today.
Since she was so sincere and kind-hearted, it was not right for Yang Kai to deceive her. More importantly, it was impossible to keep this matter a secret for long. Quite a few people witnessed Great General bestowing open heaven pills to Yang Kai when he took Great General around worm hunting, so Yang Kai had nothing to hide. And that's the whole story. Yang Kai shrugged. Really? Dieu still found it hard to believe.
She had never seen the Great General treat anyone so well in all the years she had been here. You don't believe me?
Then see for yourself. Do you have jade fire silkworms? Dieu nodded absent-mindedly. I caught 2 this month. Pass them to me. Yang Kai extended his hand. Dieu handed Yang Kai her cyanwood box, and Yang Kai immediately walked out the door, whistled loudly, and then returned to the house. Wait a moment. Not too long after, a golden light shone through the door, and ruler of the dawn Great General, restored to his half-human height, stood in front of the door, looking around curiously. Stupid chicken. Come in. I'll give you something delicious. After 1 month of getting along with each other, Yang Kai and Great General had become close friends and there was no more need for formalities between them. Dieu jumped in fear that Great General might be infuriated, but instead, she watched the ruler of the dawn Great General walk in. taking absolutely no offense in how Xianxia addressed him. She was completely amazed. Xianxia opened the cyanwood box and took out the 2 jade fire silkworms.
Great General did not refuse and gulped down both in an instant, then turned his head to Dieu, who was standing at the side.
His stare left Dieu feeling anxious. Xiao Die is all right. There's no need to avoid her. Xianxia extended his hand. Great General opened his beak and spat out a bundle of golden light. When the golden light dissipated, 2 open heaven pills appeared in Xianxia's hand, which he waved triumphantly at Dieu. Dieu was baffled by what she saw. Xianxia actually got 2 open heaven pills from Great General with just 2 jade fire silkworms.
No more. You can go play now. Xianxia waved his hand dismissively. Great General turned, wiggling his fat butt, and strutted out the door. You.
How did you do it? After a long time, Dieu finally came back to her senses and looked at Xianxia in disbelief. I don't know. Xianxia answered truthfully, as he only knew that it had become like this since their fight. He touched his chin and speculated. Maybe that stupid chicken just likes me more. Even he did not quite believe what he just said. Anyway, I have the pills to pay you back now. Xianxia took out the 30 spirit pills again, together with the 2 he just received, and put them into Dieu's hand. Dieu took them in a daze, and was still unable to recover from the great shock for some time. It was not until Xianxia waved his hand right in front of her face that she came back to her senses. Do you want to go to the shopping district with me? What are you going to do there? I'm going to buy some well-refined incense. Didn't I just buy 2 boxes last? Dieu realized before she finished speaking. Have you used up all of it? Xianxia guffawed.
How do you think I got so many open heaven pills? I took Great General around to all the nearby plots, so those 2 boxes of well-refined incense are long gone. In fact, if it was not for the extra box from Old Fang, he would not have been able to last until the end of the month.
Dieu immediately knew what he was up to. Do you plan on taking Great General around again to look for worms like before? Xianxia rolled up his sleeves. It's a great way to make money. There's no reason not to use it. Dieu pondered for a while before asking, but have you ever thought that you might offend a lot of people by doing that? Even without her warning, Xianxia already knew that he had offended a bunch of people. With a sneer, however, he replied defiantly, let them be offended. As long as I get open heaven pills, there's nothing to be afraid of. Dieu shook her head slowly. No, no, no. If you really offend too many people, you won't be able to survive in this workers' room. Even though those people won't dare deal with Great General, they can definitely come to trouble you. Xianxia snorted arrogantly. So what?
I'm even afraid that they won't come for me. Dieu glared at him. If you trust me, why not listen to my suggestion? Tell me. Xianxia turned to her. After all, she has been living here for 1,000 years and was definitely more knowledgeable than him. Dieu beckoned him to come closer.
Xianxia leaned over and was immediately immersed in the pleasant scent of orchids. He listened closely, and his eyes slowly brightened. After a while, Dieu leaned back and continued normally. Of course, I'm just giving a suggestion. The decision is yours. But no matter where you go, not sharing your profit will attract a lot of jealousy. Xianxia touched his chin and nodded. This is a good idea. It will also save me a lot of trouble. Then do you agree? Of course I agree. Why wouldn't I? Xianxia nodded sternly. I get to eat the meat, so it doesn't matter if they have the soup. Also, they will happily drink what they get, as it will be even more than what they would get if they fed Great General themselves, which may make many people grateful to you. Xianxia chuckled. Their gratitude doesn't matter to me, and let's just do it your way. In this case, we still need to go to the shopping district, but there won't be a need to buy so much incense now. By the way, Xiaodia, if there are jade fire silkworms here in Fire Spirit Land, what about the other spirit lands? Dieu answered, You're quite the quick one. I was about to tell you this. The fruit trees in the other spirit lands will also produce different exotic insects, but I don't know if Great General will like them. We can go to the shopping district and buy some to test it out first. This will be quite a big investment. Xianxia looked at Dieu with sparkly eyes. Xiaojia, you must help me. Dieu covered her mouth and giggled. Since I'm the one who came up with the proposal, of course I will help you. But she leaned closer to Yang Kai and rubbed her shoulders against him. Little brother, you can't forget to support elder sister when you succeed in the future. Yang Kai guffawed and put his arm around her shoulder. After making the money, we will share the profits equally. Jieyu turned her head and stared at his arm. Move your dirty claws away. After plotting carefully in the house and distributing their work, Yang Kai borrowed 1,000 open heaven pills from Jieyu, soared into the sky,
and went straight to the shopping district. Not long after Yang Kai's departure, a particular piece of news spread like wildfire in the workers' room. Jieyu was exchanging an open heaven pill for every 2 jade fire silkworms. The whole workers' room went into an uproar and countless people rushed to Jieyu's residence. Normally, they would have to exchange at least 3 or 4 worms for a spirit pill from Great General, and this situation was considered quite lucky. If they were unfortunate, even if they fed more, Great General would just ignore them. However, since now they were guaranteed to get an open heaven pill for 2 jade fire silkworms from Jieyu, how could this not be a great deal? They would definitely come in flocks. Moreover, the workers would stay in the orchard for a month each time, so they definitely would have caught a few worms. Although they had no idea what Jieyu was doing at first, after confirming the authenticity of the information and seeing others exchange 2 jade fire silkworms for an open heaven pill, everyone formed a line as long as a dragon at the door of Jieyu's residence. Since everyone had just returned from the orchard, they certainly had some worms on hand. Jieyu had always kept a good relationship with the others in the workers' room. At the moment, some of her so-called sisters spared no effort to inquire about the reason for her doing so. But since this matter was related to the interests of her and Yang Kai, how could she disclose it? She just smiled and kept her mouth shut. Only a few people looked at the lively scene with reservations. On the other hand, after Yang Kai arrived at the workers' shopping district, he went straight to the store that sold cyan wood boxes and well-refined incense, where he bought 2 boxes of well-refined incense for 10 open heaven pills. He originally planned to use the few hundred open heaven pills he earned before to buy as much well-refined incense as possible, because he would still need to take the ruler of the Dawn Great General to catch worms in the future.
And the consumption of incense would definitely be tremendously high. But after listening to Jieyu's suggestion, he agreed that her proposal was better. If he had done as he originally planned, not to mention offending a large number of people, the efficiency would be too low.
With Jieyu buying jade fire silkworms from those workers in Fire Spirit Land, it would save them time and effort and also avoid offending others.
Even if some came to know the truth in the future, they could only think that Yang Kai was the lucky one who was valued by Great General, rather than hate him. As Jieyu mentioned before, no matter where one went, hoarding all the profits for oneself would attract a lot of jealousy.
Furthermore, his income through Jieyu's proposal would be higher than his previous plan. However, although Yang Kai had no need to stock up on incense in bulk, he still had to keep 2 boxes on standby.
After leaving the shop, Yang Kai went on a tour of the shopping district, looking for a place to set up a stall. But he soon found that all the good spots were occupied by others. After observing for a while, Yang Kai went straight to a stall, extended his hand and thrust 3 open heaven pills at the stall owner. The stall owner was a young man and looked up at Yang Kai in amazement and asked, "What do you want to buy, senior brother?" "Your stall." Yang Kai shook the open heaven pills in his hand. "Store your things and give me this spot, and these 3 pills are yours." The young man pondered a little, then quickly put away all the things in his stall. "Leave the signboard too. It's all yours." The young man took the 3 open heaven pills delightedly and soon disappeared into the crowd. The stall owners on the left and right sides looked sideways at him with strange looks. They had never seen anyone buying a stall spot like he did. No one actually managed the stalls here, so they always went on a first-come, first-served basis. Yang Kai sat down where the young man previously sat, picked up the signboard, and erased the words on it. He then took a piece of charcoal from the ground, pondered for a moment, and then scribbled a line of big characters across the signboard before sticking the signboard next to the stall. He was now open for business. The stall owner on the left side was an elderly man and stole a glance at Yang Kai before he broke out laughing. He thought Yang Kai was going to do a big business seeing that he bought the stall spot so generously, but according to the signboard he was just buying worms that grew on the fruit trees of the various orchards. The old man also knew that there were worms in every orchard, but he did not find them to be important. Generally, they would crush the worms directly when they caught them, so he had no idea why the young man beside him wanted to collect them. However, he was too lazy to pay attention to other people's affairs. He shook his head, stopped paying attention to Xianxia, and concentrated on his own business. Xianxia spent half a day sitting there. He rolled up his sleeves and was ready for a big showtime, but after half a day, although many people stopped to observe for a while, no one actually went forward to inquire, which made him feel a little irritated. On second thought, however, Xianxia realized that not every spirit land had a ruler of the Dawn Great General. The stupid chicken in Fire Spirit Land was a pet tamed by their venerable protector, and it just so happened to love eating jade fire silkworm. Therefore, the workers of Fire Spirit Land had the habit of catching and collecting worms. Though the workers in other spirit lands would also catch worms, they certainly would not keep them. After realizing this, Xianxia frowned secretly. If so, his plan would not work. Just then, a shy voice came to his ear. "Excuse me, senior brother, what worms do you want to collect?" Xianxia looked up and saw a petite young girl standing in front of his stall. The girl was beautiful, with little freckles on the tip of her nose, and when their eyes met, the girl's face slightly flushed. Xianxia had long waited for someone to patronize his stall, so he was greatly refreshed and disclosed, "The worms that live on the fruit trees. Do you have any?" The young girl shook her head. "I don't." "Then why did you ask?" Xianxia almost cursed her, but seeing her timid appearance, he could not bear being mean and forced out a smile. "Girl, you can leave." The young girl did not leave, however, but stood on the same spot for a while before she asked, "How much are you buying?" Since he had nothing to do and it was rare for someone to ask, Xianxia replied casually, "4 worms in exchange for 1 open heaven pill here." He had agreed with Diayu to exchange with a ratio of 2 to 1 in the workers' room of Fire Spirit Land. But the price of other spirit lands would not be the same. As soon as Xianxia made his offer, before the young girl in front of his stall could speak, the elderly man who set up the stall next to him suddenly widened his eyes and turned to Xianxia to ask, "Young man, what did you just say?" "4 worms for 1 open heaven pill. One hand gives the worms, the other hand gets the pill, but I need them alive." The elderly man could not believe what he was hearing and only stared at Xianxia suspiciously, for he had never seen anyone use precious open heaven pills to exchange for useless worms in all the years he had been here. "In that case, please wait a moment. A friend of mine has worms. I'll ask her to come over," while the freckled girl said before she took out a bell and shook it gently. The elderly man to the side was not interested in doing his own business anymore and instead stared at the situation at Xianxia's stall with great interest, as if to determine whether things were really true to what Xianxia offered, 4 worms for an open heaven pill. Soon, a woman who appeared to be in her early 20s squeezed through the crowd and looked at the freckled girl. "Xiaomo, is someone really collecting worms?" The girl who was called Xiaomo pointed at Xianxia as she answered, "Elder sister Xueping, it's him. He wanted the worms. Ask him yourself." Yu Xueping frowned at Xianxia before looking at the signboard next to him to make sure she did not get it wrongly. Then she asked, "How many are you buying and for how much?" 4 worms for 1 open heaven pill. Xianxia illustrated the numbers with his fingers. Although she had learned about it from Xiaomo's message, Yu Xueping still could not believe it when she heard it with her own ears. She really did not know what was wrong with this guy in front of her. Who would use open heaven pills to buy worms? Did he have too many open heaven pills? However, since he was doing this, he must have a reason. After pondering for a while, she took out a cyanwood box and handed it to Xianxia. Xianxia took it over, scanned it with his divine sense, and nodded gently. "11 worms. Are these blue water silkworms?" "Indeed. The number is not enough, but I'll consider it as 12 since you're my first customer. 3 open heaven pills." As Xianxia spoke, he moved the blue water silkworms into his own cyanwood box. When returning the box, he handed over 3 open heaven pills. This was his first sale, so he did not mind being a little generous. Yu Xueping and Xiaomo were completely flabbergasted as they confirmed that this young man was doing exactly what was written on his signboard. This was an unexpected fortune. Yu Shueping only caught some blue water silkworms for fun because she was bored. After all, there was not much entertainment for a worker. Who knew that these worms actually benefited her at the moment? Suddenly, Yu Shueping sensed a business opportunity from this transaction and asked hurriedly, "Senior brother, how many blue water silkworms do you want to collect?" "No limit. I'll take as many as you have." Yang Kai smiled lightly. "Will you come again next month?" "Indeed. I see." Yu Shueping nodded heavily. "Then when the shopping district opens next month, I'll come here to find you." A sudden realization dawned on Yang Kai, for he finally understood what she was going to do, and secretly scolded himself for being stupid. He could have just hired an agent to help him to get what he wanted instead of sitting here waiting for customers. The workers in the other spirit lands did not have the habit of catching and keeping worms at all. If they were not given some incentive, how could he get those worms? Since this woman in front of him was smart enough to come up with this idea, however, he could cooperate with her. "Fine." Yang Kai smiled and nodded. "May I know senior brother's name?" "This junior sister is Yu Shueping." Yang Kai introduced himself too. Yu Shueping carried on. "So it is senior brother Yang. I believe senior brother Yang isn't from Water Spirit Land. And since this is our first meeting, we don't know each other very well. What if I can't find senior brother when I come back next month?" Yang Kai assured, "I will definitely be here." Yu Shueping shook her head. "Words cannot be trusted." Yang Kai looked at her with great interest. "What do you suggest then? What if senior brother offered 30 open heaven pills in advance as a deposit?" Yu Shueping persuaded, obviously having planned this beforehand. "Of course, I will also use something as collateral, so senior brother won't need to worry that I won't come back after taking the spirit pills." Yang Kai laughed. "Good. But I wonder what junior sister is willing to use as collateral?" Yu Shueping stretched out her hand and summoned a gleaming long sword, which she handed to Yang Kai, saying, "I'll use this as collateral." Yang Kai reached out to take it and flicked the blade with his fingers. A crisp and light tinkle resounded, which continued to hum for quite some time. "Good sword. I'll take it." He nodded approvingly, sliding it into his space ring. Yang Kai had no idea of the value of this long sword, but it was definitely worth at least 30 open heaven pills. So when the shopping district opened next month, he and Yu Shueping would undoubtedly meet and thus secure their transaction. He took out 30 open heaven pills and handed them to her, causing Yu Shueping's beautiful eyes to light up. "Many thanks, senior brother. We'll see you next month." She then beckoned her companion, Xiaomo, "Let's go." The two hurriedly left the shopping district and headed straight towards Water Spirit Land. They did not avoid any audience during their conversation, so the surrounding stall owners managed to eavesdrop, and they were not fools. After Yu Shueping left, the elderly man on the left immediately jumped in. "Little brother, that girl came from Water Spirit Land, and this old master is from Earth Spirit Land. The orchard in Earth Spirit Land has worms too, so I wonder if we can work together. I'm from Metal Spirit Land." The stall owner on the right, too, came over. The expression on his face became much more enthusiastic. "I also know a friend from Wood Spirit Land. Would you like me to call him over?" After 2 hours, Yang Kai closed his stall and left. Although he did not collect many worms during his stay, only the first 11 were sold to him by Yu Shueping. A path had been opened up, and now he just had to wait for various meetings next month. Yang Kai could foresee swarms of open heaven pills rolling his way. Returning to the village where the workers' room was located, Yang Kai could already see a long queue in front of Diayu's house from a distance. Knowing that the plan was going well, Yang Kai cackled happily. A figure slithered up next to him at that moment, and Yang Kai turned to see Old Fong rubbing his hands together with a flattering smile. "Little brother, you're back." "N." Yang Kai responded casually. "Is something wrong?" "Not at all." Old Fong laughed aloud. "If little brother is free, why don't you come to my place? The fine wine I have kept for many years can be unsealed today. Rather than enjoying it alone, it would be an honor for little brother to enjoy it together with this old man." Yang Kai crossed his arms and looked at him with a smirk. "Fine wine? I'm not interested. And I distinctly remember someone asking this Yang to just pretend that we had never met." Old Fong lifted his hand and slapped himself bitterly. This big brother was foolish, so please don't take it to heart. Little brother, we're all away from home, and it's not easy to get acquainted in this vast world. Give this big brother some face, and let me make amends to you. Yang Kai was still hesitating, but Old Fong had already grabbed Yang Kai by the arm and pulled him towards his house. Little brother, you're a generous man. Don't be calculative with me. Yang Kai growled in a low voice. If you want to drink, then drink. Stop dragging me around. It's highly improper. Good, good, good. I won't insist. Old Fong nodded his head repeatedly, immediately humbling himself yet still insisting. Yang Kai entered the house with Old Fong, who closed the door behind him and took out a wine urn. He also took out 2 plates of spirit fruit and then sat down opposite Yang Kai. The strong aroma of the wine filled the room immediately after opening the seal, and Old Fong politely filled Yang Kai's cup first, then poured one for himself before raising his glass and making a toast. It's really this Fong's blessing to be able to meet little brother Yang in this fire spirit land. This cup is big brother's respect for you. He raised his head and downed the cup. Yang Kai glanced at him and downed his cup too. A look of surprise involuntarily surfaced on his face. The wine was truly good. It was mellow and thick to the taste, and a warm, fuzzy feeling crept up from his abdomen, which made him feel warm and light all over. Old Fong refilled Yang Kai's cup and continued with a smile. This old master has been saving this urn of wine for 800 years. Back then, I collected the most precious materials from my universe world, which cost a huge amount of money and time, and only brewed 3 urns in total. 1 urn was drunk right before this old master set off to the outer universe. The other was given to Manager Zhou, and this is the very last urn in the world. Good wine, Yang Kai praised. If it's good, drink more. Old Fong's face was radiant. And this spirit fruit too was brought from this old master's homeland. I've always treasured it and was never willing to eat it. Although the outer universe is wonderful, it is absolutely impossible to find these. Yang Kai nodded, picked up a bunch of grape-like berries and ate them. As he ate and drank, Old Fong rambled on, reminiscing about how powerful he was in the past, and about how desolate his current situation was. Tears suddenly filled his eyes, and he was unable to speak for a while. Yang Kai finally couldn't stand it anymore and snorted, "Just get to the point. Don't talk nonsense and irritate others." Old Fong wiped the corners of his eyes. This big brother doesn't really have anything to say. I'm just wondering if little brother is willing to help big brother if he can. How can I help you? Yang Kai looked at him with a smile. You know, I've only been here for 2 months while you've been here for hundreds of years. If anyone needs help, it should be me. Old Fong waved his hands frantically. One's achievements are not dependent on age. I haven't made a name for myself here even after hundreds of years. It's you, little brother, who has made an earth-shattering move. I don't know what you're talking about. Yang Kai threw a spirit fruit into his mouth and munched happily. The corners of Old Fong's brow twitched. Gritting his teeth, he decided to stop beating around the bush, as he knew if he continued to do so, he would always be the passive one, so he went straight to the point. Sister Jiayu is currently exchanging 2 jade fire silkworms for 1 open heaven pill. Really? Yang Kai blinked. Then you better hurry up and sell to her. It's a good deal. Old Fong lowered his voice. I saw her enter your house earlier, and she took a long time to come out. This young master is both handsome and talented, and it is not surprising that women come flocking. Old Fong growled through his teeth. You said before that great general gave you a lot of open heaven pills. I'm lucky that great general favors me. Old Fong was about to cry. Little brother, when you first entered the orchard, this big brother was the one who taught you how to take care of the fruit trees, and let you practice in my own orchard, and when you didn't have a cyanwood box and well-refined incense, I was the one who lent you them for free. Didn't I give you an open heaven pill when I was rewarded by the great general? Yang Kai looked sideways at him. Old Fong opened his mouth but was unable to give a reply. After a long time, he sighed. Forget it, it's this old master who has no luck, and I'm afraid there is no hope left for me in this life. In an instant, he seemed to become much older. Yang Kai patted him on the shoulder with a smile. Anyway, many thanks for your teachings in that 1 month. You are a bit stingy, but overall you're not too bad. Old Fong looked at him in amazement. Go help Xiaodia later, I think she's getting a little too busy over there.
Old Fong's face lit up and he grabbed Yang Kai's hand with a look of extreme gratitude. Many thanks, little brother, this big brother will never forget this. If there's anything you need in the future, you can come to me anytime. This big brother will not ask for too much, and when little brother has made his fortune, you just need to give me a touch of it. I'll go first. Enjoy the wine. After saying so, he ran out the door with astonishing agility. Yang Kai wiped his hands on his clothes with a disgusted face and continued drinking and eating until he finished the urn of wine and the spirit fruits before heading home. Night fell, but Yang Kai's house was brightly lit by a golden radiance. The ruler of the dawn, great general, was present with his head raised high, looking straight ahead proudly. Yang Kai stood in front of him, feeding him one jade fire silkworm after another, while Old Fong and Diayu held their breath as they watched closely from the side. Every time about 10 worms were fed, Yang Kai would stretch out his hand, into which the great general would spit out a ball of golden light from his mouth. After repeating the cycle countless times, Yang Kai finally finished feeding the worms. Great General burped heartily and walked out of the house slowly. It was only then that Yang Kai realized that this stupid chicken had an unexpectedly huge appetite. It was a false impression that he could be full from just 10 worms from the orchard before. Great General's stomach seemed to be a bottomless pit, and he could probably gobble down as many worms presented to it. After closing the door shut and reactivating the barrier, Old Fong gulped and could not help asking, how many? He had never seen so many open heaven pills in his life. Today would be an eye-opener. He would never have believed that the ruler of the dawn, Great General, could be so generous if he had not seen it with his own eyes. He fed Great General a few worms just now and did not even get a single open heaven pill. Diayu's situation was better as she got 1 open heaven pill for 5 worms, which was about average. Only Yang Kai had a ratio of 1:1 for worms fed to open heaven pills. Under their scorching gazes, Yang Kai swept his divine sense over the space ring in his hand to check, then looked up and grinned. More than 1,400 pieces. At the same time, Yang Kai could not help pondering. How many open heaven pills does that stupid chicken have? Great General casually gave him more than 1,400 pills, so he clearly had many more. But the pills were all given by the Venerable, and unless Great General was willing to share, no one would dare snatch them from him. Despite expecting such a number already, Diayu's hand could not help flying to her red lips as her beautiful eyes flashed fiercely. Old Fong, completely flushed with excitement, looked at Yang Kai and exclaimed, "Little brother, you're rich, you're rich." He and Diayu had been living in the workers' room for a long time and had seen many workers come and go, but none of them were like Yang Kai, who had gotten so many open heaven pills in just 2 months. They would not be able to acquire so many even if they saved up for hundreds of years. This was nothing short of a miracle, but it all came down to Great General's peculiar bias towards Yang Kai. No worker had ever been treated so favorably by him before. The 3 people in the room were dazzled by a table full of open heaven pills. When the business was finished, the next step was naturally to share the profits. This was an exciting moment. Yang Kai looked left and right. With a swipe, he divided the spirit pills on the table into 2 and pushed 1/2 to Diayu. "Shao Dai, this is your capital." Diayu smiled and stored them. The spirit pills that she spent on purchasing Fire Spirit Silkworm today was all her own asset. Without her, the plan would not work because Yang Kai did not have open heaven pills, so it was fine for her to take back her initial investment. Yang Kai swiped again, divided the remaining 1/2 into 2, and then pushed 1/2 of them to Diayu. "This is yours." Diayu looked at him with beautiful eyes. "What we have agreed is sharing the profit equally," Yang Kai explained. Then he separated out 50 pills from his 1/2 and pushed them to Old Fong. "Old Fong, these are yours. Don't feel bitter about it. Xiao Jie came up with the plan and funded it, so she deserves more." Old Fong's face flushed with excitement. "It's enough, enough. I only ran some errands with Sister Diayu." It was true that it was quite a lot to him. The worker's salary was only 3 spirit pills a year and would only get more pills as occasional rewards from Great General or when he made some contribution in the orchard. But in general, the number of spirit pills a worker could earn in a year was about 10 to 20 pieces, with the unlucky ones getting only 5 or 6.
It was difficult for the workers to achieve more than that. However, Old Fong easily obtained 50 open heaven pills just from assisting Diayu, which was equal to the income of several years of hard work. How could Old Fong not be satisfied?
How would he dare to say so?
He had this opportunity all thanks to Yang Kai, so Old Fong was sincerely satisfied with his share. Excited, he wanted to put away the spirit pills, but when he saw that Diayu did not do it, he was afraid that he would be too rude if he acted too hastily. So he calmed down and waited. Diayu smiled and divided the half share in front of her into 2 shares again, pushing the bigger share back to Yang Kai. Both Yang Kai and Old Fong looked at her dumbfounded. Diayu explained, "Since little brother is so kind, how can this elder sister take advantage of you? This time I've paid the capital, so I'll take a bit more, but you keep the rest. You're new here, and it's exactly now that you need open heaven pills." Yang Kai looked at the part that she separated, and estimated that there were about 100 pills before saying, "We agreed to share the profits equally." This Yang would be breaking his word if he received this. Diayu pursed her lips. "I know you're a man of your word and elder sister is proud of you, but we should share the profit according to our own contributions. If you insist on giving it to me, I won't feel comfortable receiving it. Moreover, since the path has been opened, this will not be the only time we will do business together. This elder sister is not afraid of not earning enough open heaven pills with you in the future. I believe as long as I follow you, I will earn more open heaven pills. Take this as my long-term investment." Noticing her sincerity, Yang Kai knew that she would not accept it even if he insisted. So he nodded. "Good. Let's cooperate and make a fortune together in the future." To the side, Old Fong became anxious.
He made the least contributions and took the smallest share, but comparatively, the 50 open heaven pills he got were actually more than he deserved. After struggling for a long time, he took out 5 open heaven pills and pushed them back. "I'll take less too. I hope that little brother will not forget me when there are more good opportunities in the future." Yang Kai looked at him and could not hold his laughter. "Forget it. Just keep it." Old Fong did not object and put the 50 open heaven pills into his space ring with lightning speed. His face was full of satisfaction. Yang Kai and Diayu too put away their open heaven pills. The 3 people in the room exchanged looks and could not help laughing together. Who would not be happy about making a fortune? There's something else I should tell you too. The business has already expanded to the other spirit lands. When the shopping district opens next month, we can go and collect a number of worms.
By then, the profit will not be just like this, but 7 times this. Have you made an agreement with others? Diayu questioned curiously. Yang Kai disclosed his meeting with Yu Shueping and explained how he had found an agent in each spirit land and asked them to collect the worms at a price ratio of 1 to 4.
Diayu sighed after hearing this that Yu Shueping is a smart one. She saw the key of the matter at once. Yang Kai played with an open heaven pill in his hand as he grinned. "It's good for us. We can't buy worms in other places without their help anyway." "That's good. And I have a proposal. Enlighten me." Yang Kai looked at her. "Old Fong and I will follow up on this matter and contribute in both effort and money.
You don't have to worry about anything. Your only responsibility is to feed Great General and ask for rewards. After that, Old Fong and I will get 10% each of the rewards, while the rest belongs to you." Old Fong chuckled. "I'm fine with just 5%. Diayu looked at him with a smile. "Old Fong, do you know how much 10% is? Are you sure you won't regret giving it out so generously?" "How many is it?" Old Fong questioned. Diayu beamed. "Our income this time, which is based only on our fire spirit land worms, was almost 700 open heaven pills.
10% of that is 70 pieces, and this is the number earned by acquiring worms in the price ratio of 1 to 2.
The price ratio of the worms of the other 6 spirit lands is higher, so we will earn more from there.
I believe that the 10% will be worth 6 to 700 open heaven pills, Gudong." Old Fong gulped and looked eagerly at Yang Kai. "Little brother, I'm afraid I've been drinking too much just now and was not clear-minded when I said those things."
"Don't take it to heart." Yang Kai guffawed. "How can I treat both of you badly after all your help?"
10% it is." Old Fong was extremely grateful but could not help calculating silently. If he and Dau each took 10%, which was 6 to 700 open heaven pills each, there would be 5 to 6,000 remaining. He could not help but be taken aback. This number was terrifying. He had never saved so many open heaven pills even after living here for hundreds of years, but Xianxia could earn such a huge income in a month. With a solemn look, he continued, "Little brother, this matter must not be known to others. Otherwise, we won't remain safe. This big brother swears that if I, Fang Bai Qi, leak this matter, I will be struck by lightning and my soul will be shattered to pieces." Diayu shook her head slowly. The things in Fire Spirit Land can't be concealed for long. But the purchase of worms from other spirit land should be kept strictly confidential. When I meet those agents later, it should not be difficult for me to keep their mouths shut. After all, they stand to benefit as well, and no one would sabotage their own business. Xianxia nodded. "Then I'll leave that to you. One more thing." Diayu looked at Xianxia. "You have to improve your relationship with Manager Zhou. If this matter in Fire Spirit Land is leaked, he will undoubtedly become jealous. If you don't establish a good relationship with him, we will certainly be targeted in the future." Xianxia became a little annoyed, but after giving it some thought, he realized she was right and immediately nodded. "I'll find a chance to cozy up to him. It would be best if he could take this opportunity to pull himself out of the problematic plot as well." Thinking about it, if this business worked, the income from Fire Spirit Land would only represent a small portion, and it did not matter much even if it was exposed. At most, he just had to share some benefits with Zhouzheng, which was not a big deal. After chatting for a while, they were dismissed. Given that they had finished discussing everything, they had to wait to carry out the plan only when the shopping district opened next month. However, the acquisition of Jade Fire Silkworm in Fire Spirit Land could be carried out in advance. Diayu and Old Fang were in charge of it, so Xianxia did not need to worry about it. Sitting cross-legged in his room, Xianxia casually tossed an open heaven pill into his mouth. He had not eaten one before because he could not bear to consume the few he had, but now he naturally wanted to have a taste. In the end, Xianxia found it was nothing special. Zhang Ruoxi mentioned that open heaven pills had two functions. One was to improve the order of an open heaven realm master, though with a limit of 2 additional orders. The other was to help the cultivators to purify and condense their yin, yang, and 5 elements. Therefore, the open heaven pill was the hard currency throughout the entire outer universe. Basically, the improvement and growth of each cultivator's strength were related to the spirit pill. However, the medicinal efficacy of a single spirit pill was limited. Only the open heaven pills spontaneously generated from Universe Furnace could help one reach the pinnacle. Xianxia was not an open heaven realm master, and the wood element he condensed was the essence of the immortal tree, so other than making him feel warm in his stomach, the open heaven pill had no other effect on him. As such, he learned that it would be a waste if he ate more, so he did not care about it anymore. 3 days passed by in a flash. Early in the morning, the golden rooster announced the coming of dawn. The workers of the workers' room came out in herds, turned into streams of light, and rushed towards the orchard. In front of everyone's eyes, the ruler of the dawn great general's body shone with golden light and shrank to the size of a small rooster. With a thump, he sat on Xianxia's head, his buttock wiggling to part away Xianxia's hair so he could find the most comfortable position. Xianxia's face twitched, but thinking of the huge benefits the stupid chicken brought to him, he endured the shame. When he arrived at his plot in the orchard, he took care of the fruit trees as usual. He fertilized, watered, nourished, caught worms, and surged his wood element to energize the fruit trees. Nevertheless, he did not need to go around snatching worms with Great General like last month, for that would gain too much hatred from the others. Moreover, the final income would undoubtedly be worse doing things his way than Xiao Dia's. In his spare time, Xianxia drank wine and played chess with Old Fang, living a carefree life. From time to time, someone would come to Old Fang to sell him jade fire silkworms. According to Old Fang, he and Diayu had spread the word to everyone. As long as the workers in Fire Spirit Land caught 2 worms, they could exchange them for an open heaven pill. Therefore, people came to Old Fang's plot every so often. He had no idea about the situation in Diayu's plot, but it should be similar to here. When their rest time arrived, Xianxia could feed the jade fire silkworms that were collected to Great General all in one go.
The taste of making a fortune effortlessly was intoxicating. Yang Kai treated Great General like the god of fortune, while Old Fong treated Yang Kai as the god of fortune, complimenting and buttering up to Yang Kai every day, taking out any treasured food and drinks from his space ring without hesitation to share without reserve.
In the blink of an eye, another month flew by. On their first day off, the group of 3 went straight to the shopping district. They arrived at the previous stall where 2 women were already waiting. It was Yu Shueping and the girl named Xiaomo.
Seeing that Yang Kai had fulfilled his promise, Yu Shueping's beautiful eyes lit up. Yang Kai beckoned at her, but instead of stepping forward, he turned around and left, leaving Old Fong and Diayu behind. Yu Shueping and Xiaomo looked at each other and quickly followed. Following him all the way to a remote place, Yang Kai stopped and smiled at the 2 of them. "Senior brother," Yu Shueping greeted. Yang Kai nodded, sweeping their surroundings with his divine sense to make sure they were alone before lowering his voice. "What are the results, junior sister? Senior brother can see for himself." Saying this, Yu Shueping handed over 3 cyanwood boxes. Yang Kai received the boxes and scanned them with his divine sense, then reported the exact number, 1138 blue water silkworms. That comes to a total worth of 285 open heaven pills. Discounting the previous 30 pills deposit, here are 255 spirit pills. Junior sister can confirm it herself. There's no need to count. I trust senior brother. Yu Shueping suppressed her excitement. She took the spirit pills handed over by Yang Kai and looked at Xiaomo, who was equally excited. To be honest, she was only able to breathe easy after this transaction was completed. Although Yang Kai had paid a deposit before, he was also holding on to her collateral, and in order to acquire these blue water silkworms, she had invested a lot of spirit pills.
If Yang Kai did not show up today, she would be at a big loss. Now that the spirit pills were in her hands, there was nothing to worry about. Even counting her previous investment, she had made a solid profit. Yang Kai returned the longsword given to him as collateral, and Yu Shueping asked, "Is senior brother still interested in more of these blue water silkworms?" "Indeed. You can come here every month in the future, and as I said before, I will take as many as you have." "Good, then I'll continue collecting more from Water Spirit Land for senior brother." Xiaomo asked curiously, "Senior brother, what are you doing with these blue water silkworms?" As soon as she asked, Yu Shueping elbowed her and immediately apologized. "Xiaomo is a naive girl, don't blame her, senior brother." She also knew that Yang Kai would definitely not collect these seemingly useless worms for no reason. What was useless to them might not be useless to others. Yang Kai's covert actions in bringing them to such a remote place to trade obviously meant that he did not want anyone to know about his activities. Xiaomo's question was too direct. "It's not an issue." Yang Kai chuckled. Yu Shueping was obviously in a good mood after completing their very first transaction. So they chatted for a while and also agreed on the time for their next transaction before they suddenly heard someone approaching. She turned around to look only to see that the newcomers were the companions who arrived together with Yang Kai. She smartly excused herself. "We have a deal, senior brother. I will come to you again next month." "Good, I'll wait for you right here." Yang Kai nodded. Yu Shueping and Xiaomo left right before Old Fong arrived, together with the old man from Earth Spirit Land. The old man watched Yu Shueping leave, knowing that the deal negotiated last month had been reached. With much anticipation, he greeted Yang Kai enthusiastically. The price had long been negotiated, so there was nothing much to say and the transaction was completed smoothly. However, the number of worms brought by the old man from Earth Spirit Land was not as many, only slightly more than 300. He was probably doubtful about Yang Kai's trustworthiness and dared not collect too many worms, because it was impossible to have collected only so few from the entire Spirit Land after a whole month. In this regard, he was not as bold as Yu Shueping. When the deal with Earth Spirit Land was over, Diayu led another dealer over. Within 2 hours, Yang Kai ushered in and received 6 groups of people. But except for Yu Shueping, the 5 from the other spirit lands brought only at most 600 worms. Most only had 300 to 400, just like the old man from Earth Spirit Land. It was understandable as they were all not familiar with each other, and it was their first time working together. It was only correct to be cautious. After all, not everyone had the boldness of Yu Shueping. The number of worms from all 6 spirit lands added up to a very impressive total. After completing their deals, there was no reason to remain in the shopping district, so the trio immediately headed home, summoned ruler of the Dawn Great General, and hid in Yang Kai's house to share the spoils. At the end of the day, the earnings for this month were in excess of 3,000 open heaven pills. According to the previous agreement, Old Fong and Diayu each took 10%, and the remaining 2,000 or so spirit pills entered Yang Kai's pocket. Old Fong cheered for their incredible profits. If they made more than 2,000 a month, they would earn at least 30,000 in a year, which was enough to buy 2/3 order materials. As long as they had enough materials, there was no need to worry that one would not be able to advance to the open heaven realm in the future. Once they promoted to the open heaven realm, they could immediately rid themselves of their worker status and truly become a part of Seven Wonders Land. In a good mood, Old Fong took Yang Kai and Diayu to the shopping district for a drink. There was nothing else to do, and since Old Fong warmly invited him, there was no reason for Yang Kai to refuse, though Diayu did not join them due to having other commitments. Without Diayu, Yang Kai and Old Fong flew to the shopping district together. There was a restaurant in the shopping district which was also operated by Seven Wonders Land, but the servers inside were all workers and they were only open for 3 days a month. The expensive food and drinks served in the restaurant could barely be afforded by ordinary workers, but since it was the one and only upscale restaurant in the entire shopping district, which was the shopping hub of workers from all 7 spirit lands, despite its prices, it was bustling with people every day, and the business of the restaurant was actually not as sluggish as one would imagine. Following Old Fong into the restaurant, a worker dressed as a shop boy immediately greeted them warmly. Yang Kai looked around and found 4 out of 8 tables on the main floor were occupied. Old Fong was clearly a repeat customer because he fondly waved his hand and declared, "Give us a private room." There were not many people who could afford to eat and drink in this restaurant, and the rooms on the second floor were certainly not full, so the shop boy nodded and smiled. "Two senior brothers, this way please." They followed the shop boy up to the second floor and entered the room where they took their seats. Old Fong quickly ordered a series of dishes, and then waved his hands, and 10 urns of good wine. Yang Kai turned his head to look at him and chuckled. "Can we finish it? We can take it away if we can't finish." Old Fong instructed the shop boy again. "Pack another 10 urns to take away. That's all for now. I'll summon you if it's not enough." The shop boy responded quickly, turned around, and went to work. Yang Kai looked around and grinned. "Do you come here often?" Old Fong forced a smile. "How could that be? At most, I will just buy a few urns to take back and enjoy slowly. I have been in Seven Wonders Land for hundreds of years, but I have come here no more than 10 times. I am only willing to come here today all because of little brother." After a while, he followed up. "The food here is a bit more expensive, but it's quite tasty and many of them are dishes we can't get where we came from. Little brother should eat more later." Yang Kai nodded lightly. "Since Old Fong is treating me, I won't refuse." Old Fong laughed. "It's what I should do." In no time, the wine and food were served. Old Fong took the initiative to pour the wine, warmly served the dishes, and sincerely treated Yang Kai as a god of fortune. He chatted animatedly as they ate and drank. After all, Old Fong arrived here hundreds of years earlier and knew more about Seven Wonders Land than Yang Kai. Although he was just as clueless to what was going on outside of Seven Wonders Land, he knew as much about Fire Spirit Land as anyone else, if not more. Yang Kai listened eagerly. According to what he disclosed, Zhou Zhang, manager Zhou, was also a worker in Fire Spirit Land before, but he was fortunate and was appreciated by his superiors at the time. He also made a few contributions in the orchard and saved enough open heaven pills to buy all the needed materials to reach the open heaven realm, allowing him to be promoted to manager of Fire Spirit Land. Yang Kai was surprised, and the cup of wine he was holding stopped right in front of his mouth. Manager Zhou is an open heaven realm master? He had no clue and always thought that Manager Zhou was simply working on breaking through just like him, having probably gathered several more elements than him. His open heaven realm is nothing. Old Fong sneered, probably too excited and having consumed too much alcohol, seemingly a little tipsy. He's just a first-order open heaven realm master. This old master could have broken through a long time ago if he wanted to.
Yang Kai silently made some calculations. The value of a first-order material was 150 open heaven pills, so one would need at least 1,000 spirit pills to condense all 7 elements. Since Old Fong had been here for hundreds of years, he was not bragging when he stated that he had saved enough. Emptying his cup, Old Fong sneered again. First-order open heaven realm master is the most unpromising open heaven order. Doing this is akin to cutting off his own future. No matter how many open heaven pills he takes in the future, he at most will only reach the 3rd order. This old master is more ambitious than that and wants to promote straight to the 3rd order. He had the same goal as Diayu, whose plan was also to achieve 3rd order open heaven realm. In that case, there would be hope for them to promote to 4th order or even 5th order open heaven realm, entering the mid-rank open heaven realms, a completely different class from the low-rank open heaven realms. Yang Kai nodded. Even so, a first-order open heaven is also an open heaven. He was actually a little curious as to how much strength the first-order open heaven realm master could display, but unfortunately he could not compete with Zhou, so there was no way to verify it carefully. Old Fong continued, "You don't know, little brother. Although that guy is also an open heaven realm master, he is only able to show his prestige in front of us workers. The true 7 Wonders Land disciples, or anyone who condensed 3rd order materials, won't even spare him a glance." Yang Kai suddenly recalled Du Rufeng, the disciple he met when he first came to 7 Wonders Land. That guy was definitely a half-step open heaven realm, but Zhou Zheng's status was definitely not comparable to his. Even the woman surnamed Yao who brought them to Fire Spirit Land was also not an open heaven realm master, but Zhou Zheng was very respectful to her. It could be seen that in the outer universe, reaching the open heaven realm did not mean that one achieved a high status. It was better not to break through if it meant a bright future would be cut off. It was easy to say such things, but everyone had their own difficulties. Furthermore, higher-order materials were not so easy to come by, so there were always some people who had no choice but to just break through to the low-rank open heaven realms. While the two were talking, the door was kicked open with a loud bang. Like the cat whose tail was stepped on, Old Fong immediately slammed the table, stood up, and shouted angrily, "Who?" He turned to look, but he did not recognize the person, though the person did look familiar. Nevertheless, Yang Kai recognized the person at once and was surprised. "Brother Shi." The visitor was one of several newcomers who came along with him. Shi Haotsong, the male monster, had appeared and kicked the door impolitely for no apparent reason. After hearing Yang Kai, Old Fong vaguely recognized him from the workers' room in Fire Spirit Land and asked, "Do you know him?" Yang Kai nodded, secretly thinking that he did not just know him but also formed an alliance with him and several other newcomers to watch out for each other. Since he was a person Yang Kai knew it was inappropriate for Old Fong to show bad manners to him, so he relaxed a little and proceeded, "Since you're brother Yang's friend, why don't you sit down and have a drink together?" Shi Haotsong glanced at Yang Kai with a light frown, then fixed his eyes on Old Fong again and shook his head slowly. "I don't dare to." Then he turned aside and invited, "Manager Zhou wants to see you too." Manager Zhou. The shiver running up his spine sent Old Fong half sober. Which Manager Zhou?" Shi Haotsong sneered. "How many Manager Zhous do you know? Where's Manager Zhou?" Old Fong gulped hard. Shi Haotsong just stared at him quietly. Cold sweat started to beat on Old Fong's forehead and a sudden feeling of imminent disaster struck him. At this time he realized he must have been too excited earlier from the wine and lost control of his mouth, speaking so loudly that the people sitting next door had heard him. Perhaps Manager Zhou was the one who was sitting next door. He turned to Yang Kai for help, but Yang Kai was also smiling wryly. After pondering for a while, he got up. "Let's go." What would happen would happen. Since he mentioned that the two of them were invited, Yang Kai must have been included. Shi Haotsong led the way, followed by Yang Kai and Old Fong. Old Fong's legs were shaking. Although he belittled Zhou Zheng as a waste in his previous conversation with Yang Kai, he was still an open heaven realm master. Moreover, Zhou Zheng was an orchard manager. Old Fong was unable to stand against him in any way. If Zhou Zheng was about to make him suffer, he could only bear it. He could not wait to slap himself. How could he speak so casually just because of some wine? Manager Zhou was indeed next door, and he was not alone. As Shi Haotsong entered the room next door, Yang Kai raised his eyes to see a table full of exquisite dishes, with 5 people seated around it. Manager Zhou was in the main seat while on his left was Fang Tai of Black River World, and on his right hand was the woman Sun Yanyi. The young boy, Chen Yu and Ah Sun were also present. All the newcomers who had just come to Fire Spirit Land recently were there. Yang Kai immediately revealed a surprised expression. It was obvious that Fang Tai and the group of people were hosting this banquet to treat Manager Zhou. But what surprised him more was that he did not know anything about it. No one informed him. Although he came to the shopping district as soon as he came back from the orchard, everyone left contact information with each other after they formed an alliance the last time. As such, it would have been simple for them if they wanted to find or contact each other. Since he did not receive a message, it could only mean that they did not intend to inform him. Sifting through the information in his head, Yang Kai quickly understood. He beamed from ear to ear, unaffected by the situation, and went forward with Old Fang, cupping his fists. "Greetings, Manager Zhou." Zhou Zheng's face was as cold as ice. He sat in the main seat steadily, and did not even look at them, simply picking up a cup of wine and taking a sip. Since he was silent, Yang Kai and Old Fang had no choice but to be silent as well. The atmosphere of the whole room was heavy to the extreme. The several newcomers also dared not to look at them except for Ah Sun, who kept signaling Yang Kai with her eyes, but he did not understand what she meant. After a long time, Fang Tai laughed softly, picked up the wine urn and poured Zhou Zheng another round. "Manager Zhou, don't be angry. Why should you care about the words of these idiots?" "Heh heh," Manager Zhou sneered softly and picked up the wine cup in front of him. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand and splashed the wine directly on Old Fang's face. Although it was just wine, his open heaven realm strength was condensed into the liquid, and the impact was just as strong as a beating with a stick. When Old Fang was splashed, his head was thrown back and stumbled a few steps back to stabilize himself. When he stood up again, his nose and mouth were full of blood. Zhou Zheng got up, walked to Old Fang, looked at him and asked in a cold voice, "How is the open heaven realm of this manager? Is it good enough for you?" Old Fang could not care to wipe the blood off his face, but just lowered his head. Like a quail without a nest in the cold winter, he trembled and kept muttering apologies. Zhou Zheng snorted coldly, swung his big sleeve and slapped Old Fang's face, then turned around and left. Fang Tai was so anxious that he chased after Zhou Zheng while shouting, leaving the rest in the room looking at each other. "Are you okay?" Yang Kai looked at Old Fang with concern. To be honest, he felt a little responsible for this. If he did not drink with Old Fang and start a sensitive conversation, they would not have fallen into such a disaster. However, no one would have thought that the one who Old Fang talked about would coincidentally be sitting next door, and all those words had tragically reached his ears. The soundproofing of these rooms is terrible. Yang Kai cursed secretly in his heart, but he knew this was due to their carelessness too. They drank too much and did not notice someone was sitting next door. Old Fang was obviously completely sober now, and when he heard Yang Kai, he looked up at him bitterly and cried, "Little brother, save me." Yang Kai was speechless and comforted. "Don't panic. Don't panic. It's not a big deal." He looked away. Although it was rude, Old Fang's bruised and swollen face was actually really funny, so he had to try hard not to laugh. "You too." "I'm speechless." Sun Yanyi looked at them with a frown. "Don't you know that walls have ears? Today, even if we were not sitting here, there would be others sitting here and reporting to Manager Zhou about what you said. Can you bear the consequences?" Yang Kai replied with a wry smile, "It's too late to say this now." He turned around and looked at them. "Why are all of you here?" Before Sun Yanyi could answer, Fang Tai came back from the door with a dark face, of course to hold a banquet for Manager Zhou. "Do you even need to ask?" Ah Sun explained. "Yang Kai, you have no idea. Senior brother Fang has made another contribution, so today he specially held a banquet to thank Manager Zhou." "Another contribution?" Yang Kai turned to look at Fang Tai, wondering, isn't this guy too damn lucky? Didn't he just make a contribution last month and get rewarded 30 open heaven pills? Now this month he made another contribution. Is making a contribution a routine to him? Since he dares to treat Manager Zhou at this place, it seems he obtained quite some reward. Yang Kai suspected there was something off about Fang Tai's contribution and wondered if it was even real or if it was the result of building a good relationship with Zhou Zheng. He did not see any signs of him making a contribution, and he had no idea what he did to achieve it. Fong Tai ignored him and was obviously upset. It made sense because he purposely invited Zhou Zheng today. By the looks of the wine and dishes on the table, it seemed that they had not been on the table too long and no one had started to eat yet. In other words, they probably just sat down and Zhou Zheng had already stormed out before the banquet began. How could the one paying be happy about this?
Sitting down again, Fong Tai, whose face was as dark as coal, ate the food and drank the wine without saying a word. Old Fong grabbed Yang Kai's arm with a pleading expression as if he was grasping at straws. Yang Kai had no way to save him though, but seeing that he could not calm Old Fong down, he simply pulled him to sit down. Although Zhou Zheng only vented his anger on Old Fong today, Yang Kai guessed that he was also marked by him too. This was truly bad luck. Before this, he considered sending some gifts to Zhou Zheng after making money this time. After all, Yang Kai was working under Zhou Zheng currently. Even if he did not benefit from it, it would not be bad for him. But now everything was ruined, for he had offended Zhou Zheng before he could carry out his plan. Including the previous incident, Yang Kai was afraid that he had thoroughly offended Zhou Zheng now. How are you two still in the mood to sit here? Fong Tai glared at Yang Kai. Yang Kai asked, what should I do then? Seeing Yang Kai fail to understand his place, Fong Tai felt resentful and snorted, tell me, there are so many people outside, why must you make friends with him? This old guy got you into trouble now. Let's see how you will get a foothold in Fire Spirit Land in the future. Yang Kai was extremely stunned by Fong Tai's manner, like an elder scolding his junior. And Fong Tai looked at Yang Kai with a cold face. What's the matter with you and ruler of the Dawn, great general? What? How did you offend him? It's been rumored that you offended ruler of the Dawn, great general. Isn't he using your head as a chicken coop now? Don't deny this. This Fong saw it with his own eyes before, so it can't be fake. Do you know who ruler of the Dawn, great general is? He's the pet kept by our Fire Spirit Land venerable protector. To be honest, if you only offended Manager Zhou, you may still be able to live in Fire Spirit Land, but after offending ruler of the Dawn, great general, how could you have a good future? This Fong wouldn't be surprised to see your dead body one day soon. Yang Kai was speechless. Many people had seen the stupid chicken using his head as a chicken coop, so it was not surprising to have such rumors had started outside. Yang Kai did not bother to argue with them though, and even thought that it was good for them to misunderstand. In this way, his secret would not be revealed so soon. However, Yang Kai frowned and was slightly displeased as he snapped, isn't Brother Fong being too nosy? Fong Tai sneered coldly, do you think this Fong wants to be worried about you? This Fong just doesn't want you to draw trouble to us. We are in the same batch of newcomers who came with Venerable. How you act has more or less some influence on us. Isn't Brother Fong overthinking things? I hope so too. But if you're still so stubborn, I don't think we need to continue associating after today. From now on, we should go our separate ways. Little brother, this big brother has troubled you. Forgive me. Old Fong apologized repeatedly as they made their way out of the shopping district. Previously in the restaurant, Yang Kai and Fong Tai had parted ways bleakly due to their discord. Although he was greatly distressed at the time, Old Fong was still aware of the situation. Yang Kai smiled. You think too much. That guy made it clear that he wants to cut ties with me. Even if this didn't happen today, he would have found another way to do it in the future. However, there was not much of a relationship between him and Fong Tai. All they had was a pot of tea together in the shopping district last month and verbally agreed to an alliance. Yang Kai never placed much importance in such an unreliable alliance anyway. Fong Tai took the opportunity to use this as an excuse to cut ties with him, out of fear that he might be dragged into Yang Kai's troubles. To begin with, everyone was not very close and no one would be involved even if something happened to him. However, due to the alliance they formed, it would be unreasonable for Fong Tai to stay uninvolved if something happened to Yang Kai. Well now, since they have parted ways, Yang Kai's life and death had nothing to do with him. Were you close? Why does he want to cut ties with you? Old Fong was puzzled. Yang Kai shook his head. We're not. He was too lazy to mention the alliance and turned to Old Fong. Let's talk about you. How do you plan to solve what happened today? If you don't handle it properly, I'm afraid you'll be in trouble. Old Fong answered wryly. I don't know. Yang Kai sighed. You should prepare for some massive hemorrhaging. Zhou Zheng seems to be a greedy man, so if you're resolute and give him some benefits, it should be fine. I hope so. It's not too bad if the problem can be solved by money. Would you like to join, little brother? He saw you with me today. If I go alone without you, you'll look even worse in contrast. That's true. Xianxia touched his chin. Good, count me in to put in a share, but I won't be going. It's indiscreet if too many people go to see him. I'll count on you to be our representative. Old Fom thought for a while, and what Xianxia said made sense. After all, bribery was not something honorable, so it was better if fewer people appeared. He nodded and agreed, and he was not afraid that Xianxia would go back on his word. They had a massive income every month, and Xianxia would not cheat him of a small amount of spirit pills. They did not speak again as they returned to the workers' room. After what happened during their celebration meal, Xianxia was not in the mood to stroll around, so he spent the rest of the time in his own room. After 2 days, he entered the orchard again with Ruler of the Dawn Great General on his head and began patrolling his plot as usual. It did not take much effort to care for 30 fruit trees, but soon Xianxia stopped in front of a certain one and a frown was revealed on his face. It could be just an illusion, but something felt wrong with the specific fire spirit fruit tree. After carefully comparing it with the other several fruit trees next to him, Xianxia confirmed that something was off. The leaves and fire spirit fruits on this fruit tree seemed to be a little redder than they were 3 days ago, as though it was on the brink of ripening. Unsure of what was happening, he hurriedly ran to Old Fong to ask. Seeing him coming, Old Fong smiled. Is something wrong, little brother? Xianxia noticed his expression and laughed. Is it done? Because if it was not, Old Fong would not be so calm. Sure enough, Old Fong nodded and confirmed. That's right. Just that it cost a lot. How much? Xianxia asked. Old Fong gestured the number in distress. 100 open heaven pills. That was my income for a few dozen years. It really was some big bleeding. It used to be. Xianxia looked at him with a smile. How much do you earn every month now? There's nothing to feel sore about. It's best if you can spend money to solve problems. Old Fong kept nodding his head. By the way, I gave him 30 pills on your behalf. Manager Zhou accepted it gladly and said that you were quite sensible. I think you'll be able to get rid of the spoiled plot soon. Good, I'll give you more shares for the next payment. Xianxia frowned. Speaking of that land, come with me and have a look at something. Seeing his solemn expression, Old Fong quickly put down his work and followed Xianxia to the fruit tree. Upon arrival, though, Old Fong's face changed greatly, and he exclaimed in an alarm, This is bad. What happened? Old Fong explained. The same thing happened to the 3 fruit trees that died before. The color of the leaves and fruits became darker. Once this symptom appears, within 1 month, the fruit tree will die. Xianxia was stunned. Are you sure? Old Fong was as anxious as an ant on a hot walk. My orchard is right next door. Why wouldn't I know what had happened here before? This is a great disaster. Then what should I do? Old Fong turned around several times, desperately racking his brains, and did not stop for quite a while before muttering, The only one who can help you now is Manager Zhou. Fortunately, I gave him some pills before on your behalf. He wouldn't just sit idly by. Go to the pavilion located at the center of the orchard where Manager Zhou usually stays. Go to him and explain the situation. It seems there's no need to look for him. Xianxia suddenly turned his head and looked in a certain direction. A figure was flying towards them quickly from above. Who would it be if it was not Zhouzheng? By the looks of it, he seemed to be coming straight here. It was probably due to the generous gift from Old Fong before, or he would not have come here at all except to inspect the orchard. Shortly after, Zhouzheng landed in front of the pair. Xianxia and Old Fong hurriedly saluted. With his hands folded behind his back, Zhouzheng nodded lightly and proceeded. The two of you seem to have a good relationship. You are always together. The smile on his face did not show that he was the one who splashed wine on Old Fong a few days ago. Old Fong nodded and bowed. Little brother Yang is new and lives next door to this old master. Naturally, I need to take better care of him. Zhouzheng nodded. Very good. If everyone here was like you, Old Fong, this manager wouldn't have to always run around and tire himself out. I really want to rest early. Old Fong hurriedly continued. This orchard can't run smoothly without Manager Zhe. With power comes responsibilities. We workers can only try to help Sir Manager as much as possible. Zhouzheng cracked up and pointed at Old Fong. You sure can talk. Old Fong laughed along. By the way, Manager Zhou, there is something this old master wants to discuss with you. What's the matter? It's like this. Xianxia has been here in the workers' room for more than 2 months now, and this old master has been teaching him diligently. Seeing that he is learning fast and doing well, he has the ability to take care of more fruit trees.
We are lacking in hands in the workers' room anyway, so it's a waste to let him only take care of these 30 fruit trees. Manager Zhou, could you transfer him to another place? Otherwise, this little brat will only be idle all day with nothing to do but to harass this old master. It's really quite annoying. While speaking, he gave Xianxia a wink. Xianxia quickly added, Manager Zhou, this Yang is ready to contribute more to Fire Spirit Land. Zhou Jing nodded. Good. It's rare for one to have this kind of heart. Since that's the case, this manager will grant your request. And to tell you the truth, this manager came here for the same reason. Hearing this, Old Fong was overjoyed. He turned to look at Xianxia and knew that the gift he gave before had worked, and it was quite effective, having an immediate effect. Many thanks, Manager Zhou. Xianxia cupped his fists. Zhou Zheng smiled and was about to say something when his eyes suddenly fixed on the fruit tree behind them. He looked at it carefully for a while before his face suddenly changed and he quickly excused himself. This manager suddenly remembered that there is something more important that needs to be done. I will return later. He then turned and left without another word. How could Old Fong let him go, though? Quickly grabbing his arm, Old Fong begged, Manager Zhou, don't go yet. Can you transfer Xianxia to another place first? Jia Zhang snatched back his sleeves and answered, displeased. This manager is responsible for the inspection and management of all of Fire Spirit Land's orchard and is burdened with many tasks. Any carelessness may lead to endless disasters. Now that there is an important matter to deal with, why are you delaying me? Can you bear the consequences if something goes wrong? Old Fong smiled apologetically. There's no need to be in such a hurry. Sir Manager simply needs to open his mouth to give an order to transfer Xianxia. Zhou Zhang looked at him coldly. It's easy to transfer him, but after he leaves, who will take care of these 30 fruit trees? This manager has not found a replacement yet. So why don't you take care of them for now, Old Fong? Old Fong was stunned when he heard those words. How could he dare to agree? Old Fong subconsciously loosening his grip, and Zhou Zhang immediately freed himself and disappeared in the blink of an eye. This is bad. Old Fong slapped his thigh angrily. It's all over now. Seeing Zhou Zhang's reaction just now, it was obvious he saw the problem with the fruit tree. The reason he came here earlier was to transfer Xianxia, but he immediately went back on his word after seeing the situation. Obviously, Zhou Zhang did not want to bear any responsibility and planned to let Xianxia carry the blame. He was pushing Xianxia into a fire pit. Old Fong has just had a taste of fortune with Xianxia and had only begun to enjoy the good life. If something happened to Xianxia now, he would lose all future hope. Therefore, no matter what, he could not let anything happen to Xianxia. But now that Zhou Zhang had left, he was as clueless as a headless fly. Why aren't you worried at all? Old Fong was surprised to see Xianxia's indifferent expression, without the slightest hint of nervousness. What's the use of worrying? Old Fong froze for a moment, knowing that what he said was correct. The most important thing now was the fruit tree, and worrying would not solve the problem. On second thought, he just gave Zhou Zhang such a big gift the day before yesterday, but today he left them to die. Unable to suppress his anger, he spat in the direction where Zhou Zhang was standing and scolded angrily, that bastard is nothing but an ungrateful wolf. Those 100 open heaven pills were completely wasted. If he had not offended Zhou Zhang so badly a few days ago, how could Old Fong have been willing to give away so many open heaven pills? He even thought he could have a better life now, but was cornered again in the blink of an eye. Let's check it first. Xianxia did not lose focus. I inspected this tree several times before and found nothing wrong with it, but since there is a problem now, we might find some clues. Old Fong nodded. Good, let's investigate together. No matter what, we must first find the root of the problem. Only then can we prescribe the right treatment. The two immediately got busy with the fruit tree. Old Fong did not hesitate to perform a secret technique over it. As his power fluctuated, a bundle of white lights permeated from his fingertip, swimming through every corner of the fruit tree bit by bit. Unfortunately, after a 4-hour examination, he still found nothing. Old Fong was sweating anxiously and kept muttering, how can it be? Why can't I spot any problem? Little brother, is there something different with your nurturing routine?
Yang Kai stood aside with his arms crossed and shook his head, on which ruler of the Dawn Great General was still sitting. It's impossible. If there's really any problem with the routine, it should not be only this fruit tree that has a problem, but all 30 of my fruit trees. That's true. Old Fong also felt that his speculation was nonsense. Although Yang Kai had been here for a short time, he had already learned everything regarding taking care of the fruit trees. Moreover, even if Yang Kai made a mistake, did the previous 3 owners make a mistake too? Since there is no problem with the fruit tree, the problem should be with this piece of land. Old Fong frowned. Don't give up. Keep looking. We'll find it. They busied themselves again, almost turning the entire plot over. In fact, if it were not for the fear of damaging the fruit trees planted above, they might really have done just that. But in any case, they failed to find the root cause. Old Fong was becoming stressed out again and kept muttering, as if he was the one who was in danger instead of Yang Kai. Old Fong was not even in the mood to receive them when someone came to Old Fong to sell jade fire silkworms. Yang Kai was about to face a tremendous disaster, and without Yang Kai, even if he collected more jade fire silkworms, they could not be turned into open heaven pills. Old Fong, you should go back to your site first. Let me think about it alone for a bit. Yang Kai could not stand his nagging anymore and took the opportunity to send him off. Old Fong nodded and comforted Yang Kai before leaving. Don't worry, there is always a way out. I'll ask Sister Jieyu to come over later. I don't believe we can't find the root of the problem together. Then, he led the visitor towards his orchard. As soon as Old Fong left, Yang Kai felt his ears relax. Yang Kai stared at the problem fruit tree, carefully recalling every single detail in the past 2 months when he had taken care of the trees and confirmed that he did not neglect or miss anything. Turning around and making sure that there was no one nearby, Yang Kai put his palm on the trunk of the fruit tree and quietly stimulated the wood element in his Dao seal. Ever since Jieyu told him last time, he had used his wood element to nourish his fruit trees from time to time. Of course, the 3 seedlings were not included mainly because Yang Kai was afraid that they would grow too fast and arouse suspicion. With the nourishment of his wood element, the rest of the fruit trees were growing quite well. But as there was one tree in trouble now, Yang Kai wanted to try to solve it with his wood element. After all, the wood element was condensed from the essence of the immortal tree. Although it could no longer resurrect him, Yang Kai believed this potent wood element could still produce some beneficial effect. It could at least delay the death of the tree and give him more time to find the root cause. Or at least that was his initial plan. When Yang Kai poured his wood element into the fruit tree in front of him, the fruit tree did get better. The color of its leaves and spirit fruits seemed to be fading a little. But at the same time, Yang Kai noticed another phenomenon. From underground, a scorching power surged out uncontrollably and rushed into the fruit tree in front of him. The scorching power dispersed to the surrounding area, and the fruit tree that had just improved went back to its altered state again. Yang Kai frowned, looking dumbfounded. He already knew that potent fire element leaked from the ground, for the whole orchard was located on a vast fire spirit land. When taking care of the fruit trees, he had even used his command token to draw out some fire element energy from the ground to nourish the fire spirit fruit trees, but that flower of energy had always been well controlled. Without using the token to trigger the grand array, it should be impossible for the fire element energy to flow out on its own. However, the scorching power just now was not drawn by him intentionally. A sudden realization dawned on Yang Kai, and he felt like he had found the root cause of his troubles, but he could not figure out what it was exactly. He tried his experiment again carefully several times, and he realized that every time he surged his wood element and poured it into the fruit tree, fire element energy that was hotter and stronger than normal would gush out of the ground. Although the fire spirit fruit trees needed this energy to survive and thrive, it had to be in an appropriate amount. If the fruit tree absorbed too much energy, it would obviously put a huge load on it. Yang Kai had not noticed until now because he had not touched the fruit trees each time he surged his wood element. This time though, in order to focus his efforts and perform an exam, he touched this fruit tree directly. Did you find anything? Old Fong finished his work and returned anxiously. Seeing Yang Kai frowning and pondering, he hurriedly asked. Yang Kai touched his chin and answered, I don't really know how to put it in words. Have you condensed your wood element? Old Fong nodded. As long as it's possible, the workers in Fire Spirit Land will give priority to condensing their wood element,
because wood sustained fire.
It was of great benefit to the workers to condense their wood element to better care for the fruit trees. Try to nourish this fruit tree with your wood element. Xianxia pointed. Without further asking, Old Feng immediately did as he was told. But a moment later, he frowned. What's the matter?
Is there anything special? Don't you feel it? Xianxia was puzzled. What do you feel? Old Feng stared at him. It seemed that he truly felt nothing, so Xianxia asked him to try again. This time, however, Xianxia also put his palm on the fruit tree, and after Old Feng surged his wood element again. Indeed, nothing really happened. Strange. Xianxia told Old Feng to stop and pushed his own wood element energy.
Old Feng's brow immediately jumped as he muttered this power. He finally felt it, and suddenly his face was scrunched up with mixed expressions, making him look extremely strange. His voice trembled as he shouted, "Little brother, try a few more times." Xianxia had no idea why Old Feng seemed so eager, but it was obvious that he had found something. As such, he tried several more times as requested. After a long time, Old Feng raised his hand, indicating that Xianxia could stop, and after pondering for some time, he suddenly slapped himself. "What are you doing?" Xianxia was taken aback. Old Feng looked at him with scorching eyes. "Why didn't I remember? I should have thought of it long ago."
"It's a blessing, not a curse." "A blessing." His two eyes, which used to be cloudy, suddenly lit up brightly. Xianxia frowned. "What do you mean by it's a blessing, not a curse? Speak clearly." With an envious look, Old Feng stated, "Little brother, you are really so damn lucky." Xianxia clicked his tongue. Feng Tai is the one who is lucky. He has already made 2 contributions since he came here 2 months ago. How can his luck compare to yours?
Although this old master doesn't know what contribution that Feng Tai made, it's nothing compared to what you're about to do. Old Feng rubbed his hands, exhilarated. "What do you want to say?" Xianxia was confused by him. Old Feng explained, "The whole orchard is built above a vast fire spirit land. You should know that the fire element energy contained in this fire spirit land is a nutrient needed by the fruit trees.
If we categorize the open heaven realm into 9 orders, the ambient fire element here is categorized as first order. In other words, we can utilize the element in the air here to condense our own fire element for free. However, the order of this power is too low, and not many people choose to do so. It was exactly because Manager Zhou accidentally absorbed the fire element energy here that he was forced to achieve the first order of the open heaven realm. However, there are exceptions to everything, and it is also possible to produce higher order materials in this place. Xianxia nodded. Zhang Ruoxi had told him about this before. It was said that among the 72 paradises, Golden Antelope Paradise possessed a treasure land filled with Golden Blade Yuan Spirit. This Golden Blade Yuan Spirit was a 5th-order material. As long as a sufficient price was paid, anyone could enter that treasure land to condense their metal element. However, sometimes a 7th-order spirit essence could be born from that Golden Blade Yuan Spirit. In the same way, the first-order fire element energy here could naturally produce higher-order materials. Back then, it was indeed unfortunate that Jia Zheng was forced to achieve the first-order open heaven realm because he accidentally absorbed the fire element here. I remember that 300 years ago, a scarlet cloud's true flame appeared on the site managed by a guy in this orchard. At that time, many people from 7 Wonders Land came and spent a lot of effort to collect that scarlet cloud's true flame, which was a 3rd-order material. Xianxia was flabbergasted. "Do you mean there is a scarlet cloud's true flame here?" "Exactly," Old Feng exclaimed excitedly. "Back then, when those 7 Wonders Land disciples collected the scarlet cloud's true flame, many workers, including this old master, were there to watch. Although we were blocked by a barrier and we could not see the situation clearly, when the barrier was lifted, I felt a slight difference in the ambient fire element in that area, just like what I felt just now." "Are you sure?" Xianxia looked sideways at him. "Don't lie to me."
"How can there be such a good thing? Why would I lie to you?" Old Feng grinned from ear to ear. "Little brother has such great luck. A random piece of land that was assigned to you turns out to have a scarlet cloud's true flame buried beneath it. You don't have to worry now and can instead celebrate."
"How lucky are you? This old master is so envious of you. Even if there is any scarlet cloud's true flame, it belongs to the people of 7 Wonders Land. What does it have to do with me?" Old Feng continued. "How can you say so?
If you hadn't found the Scarlet Cloud's true flame, they wouldn't have found it either. Besides, a third-order material is worth at least 15,000 open heaven pills. Even in Seven Wonders Land, it's considered a good material that those Seven Wonders Land disciples covet. When they collect it, you will definitely be rewarded something too. Of course, it probably won't mean much to you with your current wealth. Yang Kai's eyes flashed. Since it's a third-order material, what do you think would happen if I collected it for myself?